Welcome back to Pax Mithdosica. This is largely going to be a continuation of last week. So it is worth reminding ourselves where we are at, because we did stop, I wouldn't say in the middle of something, but certainly in the middle of a scene, which was we stopped in the middle of Peach and Yogi, Zennius and Renesmee, having recovered a dagger. Specifically, Krunfun'duz is what that dagger's name is. Within the blade is a dwarf named Bali Blackguard. And we had just finished talking to the blade, trying to convince it that Renesmee is some sort of mistress of Cal Rule. The blade did not seem convinced and just said, okay. And that is where and that is where we left things off. Timeline-wise, since Ethan and Dota didn't have much to do during the long rest, technically they're a couple days ahead of you. So we're going to stay with Zennius, Renesmee, and technically Severus, since he was required to identify the blade, for a little bit longer. So, what next?
Well, we've figured out that, holy shit, this is a very powerful artifact. We need to keep this to get more information from it, etc., and we don't want to go down the legal route. So I think that our next step should be immediately consulting with some sort of lawyer.
Right. By the way, Harkin, I went back to the VOD and I copied the thing we signed, and I just want to verify that that's correct with you.
Yeah, sure. Post it in chat. Let me make sure none of the clauses were left out.
That is word for word, besides the uhs and ums, what you said.
We'll provide the Judge of the Empire. We'll provide the Judge of the Empire, Zennius, and Judge Renesmee with leads to locate in exchange. She will keep one of them for research purposes. Yeah, that's about right.
Okay.
That can't be about right, Harkon. That needs to be exactly right.
Well, if you want to get it incredibly accurate, I think that they would list Renesmee's entire title. There would also be the...
They didn't, because you said they didn't know Renesmee's full name.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, in which case they could have just asked Renesmee. Like, I think that the document... The main thing is that it's a contract between you, meaning Zennius, and Arcanist Umbra. The enforcement clause of the contract is not listed. You guys would have to go look at supplementary Imperial materials. That's what I'm saying. It's like, it's mostly correct, because there's implied things in that contract that aren't written on the page. Like, you'll notice, there is no enforcement clause in this contract, but that's already implied by other Imperial laws.
But what we wrote, what was written down on that paper...
What was written down on that page is going to be that, yeah.
And then it can be extrapolated by law.
Yeah.
I think we should get a lawyer, and or immediately, I don't know. Yeah, we should get a lawyer.
Okay, so at the previous session, we were kind of debating whether to retain the dagger or not and continue working with her. It sounds like we're fully agreed at this point. We are going to take this dagger and try to weasel our way out of the arrangement.
Right. And
I think we have to be weasels.
Well, I mean... you did sign
a literal
the contract, yeah.
So, yeah.
I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just being clear on what we're trying to do here.
Well, what we could also do, well, no, this wouldn't work with what you want to do, but we have the names of, like, the other people, too, so we could legend lore the rest and not use her at all, but...
You do have their names, yes.
What?
We have their names, so I could use the spell legend lore to probably figure out where they're buried. And that's where I think she implied that the items were. Or that's the best bet at where the items are.
Yeah, there is the financial component to that arrangement, which means you need to get, like, Ethan or
250
Dota.
gold.
You probably need to get Ethan clued into that, because I think he's the only one with enough money to help you afford that.
Also, I think that, we are... Okay, I forgot what I was saying. Never mind. Continue. Yes. No idea what I was fucking saying. Don't mind me. Yep. Early onset Alzheimer's.
It sounds like, so if we're going to retain the dagger, Peach made a good point. You'll probably want to talk to a lawyer to figure out what those implied things are, because neither of you are educated in Imperial law very well.
Oh, what I was going to say is that if we're going to be unethical already, right? I'm not sure at what point would be smart to do this, but we could also, like, charm her to tell us the rest. And then she'd know that she was fucked, but like...
The issue is almost all charm effects, so the person knows that they've been charmed afterwards.
I know, but like...
And she seems fairly important. That she could probably screw us over if we can't, like, get a...
I mean, it goes without saying, but that is incredibly illegal.
Yeah, I think charming someone that has her position would be like...
No, charming anyone is illegal. It's a violation of their, like,
right,
autonomy.
but,
it's
like,
incredibly wrong.
Yeah, but you might be able to work some things as being a judge.
You could try.
Yeah, but like, yeah, exactly. If I charm a beggar, it's not going to have the same consequences as
you would have a very hard time arguing this isn't the execution of your duty as judges, since you actually have no job as a judge right now. You are currently, like, off duty.
Well, but not really, right? When we first signed up for being judges, we were given a general script or general duty.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is to bring, like, peace to Transatlia, etc.
Yeah. But
we could go talk to the proconsul to give us an explicit... We could tell him about this...
Yeah, certainly.
But the problem there is he would probably be like, oh, okay, so the Department of Faith gets him in. So...
Correct, he would want that, yeah. But he would... I mean, yes, you could talk to your boss. There are ways you can make this legitimate. I'm just saying, at the moment, if this comes down to a courtroom, there is no court in Mithdosica that's going to be like, you know what, this is a reasonable execution of their duties as judges.
Yeah. Valid.
But so far, we haven't violated the arrangement yet, so we
Triply charm the entire court. It's that
easy. Holy...
Oh my god, wait! You know what? What's not in the contract is when we have to give it to her.
Correct.
And when we have to give it to the department.
Yeah. Wait, we could put it in our will that when we die, we will give it to her. No problem, girl. No problem, queen. It's
all the
yours.
Objects?
Well, we would have to put it in our will that, yes, we will provide Arcanist Umbra with this dagger upon one of our deaths. Probably yours, because if you get killed, Tullius can bring you the fuck back. And then the others will be returned to the Department of Magic. Again, no timeline. We'll turn them over upon our death, just like other people do. Peachachoo.
You can try.
Surely she won't send him after you to ensure that you're dead and bring your body.
Yeah, but that would be illegal.
Yeah,
what you're doing is illegal.
To be clear, in this context, you would not just be dealing with Umbra. If you actually start to fight this in like a formal sense, most of those items are going to the Department of Magic, including Krunfun'duz, so you'd be directly beefing with one of the great departments.
Let's talk to a lawyer.
Alrighty, so now we get to enter the wonderful world of Imperial bureaucracy yet again. All right, let's get some stretching in because it's going to be a lot of paperwork. So the first question is, what lawyer? Because technically, there is a barrister assigned to the inquisitors and judges. He is, well, there's a whole litany of them, but basically, Imperial judges get sued all the time for improperly executing their duties. Technically, there have been some lawsuits leveled against you guys, but they've all been dismissed, so I've never brought them up. But for example, when you took Nami, that guy absolutely filed a complaint with his local quaestor, which was then forwarded to the Department of Judges. A barrister looked at that and just ignored it, and it just sort of languished there.
Yeah.
So there has been times where you guys have done things that have resulted in you getting in trouble. It just has never escalated to the point where you need to be informed about it. So you can go talk to that council, which represents the judges, not you guys, but like the judges as a whole. Or you could go try to go purchase some private counsel, or since each of you are members of great clans, you could go to your great clan and try to hire their judges, who again are looking out for the interests of that clan rather than, you as individuals.
Is that Varuzian?
Yours would be, yes, the judges of the Imperial clan, yeah.
Are there a lot of those?
Yes, the Imperial clan family is quite large. I think it's a couple hundred people, so.
Like you said, they're going to look out in the interest for themselves, so whatever you're doing is going to fuck with their image.
Correct. Depending on what lawyer you end up retaining, they're going to be interested in, that body. Because of your weird positions of, like, the different social stratas you stretch across, you have access to, like, tons of different lawyers, or obviously you could retain private ones.
I feel like, Zenius, that it would be best to retain a private lawyer, even though it's going to... Well, we have to see what their retainer would be, what the cost of this would be, etc. But it's probably best to keep this as private of a matter, at least to have our initial consultation with the private lawyer to see what they think. Of course, they're going to want their own interests, but...
Do the judges, or sorry, not the lawyers from the clans have like way more power or like sway over a private lawyer, or is it just like resources?
No, they're all just barristers. It's just a resource thing.
Yeah.
we'll be a lot more fucked with resources if we go private, but I also think that we should
investigate. You guys are
investigate
really
it.
rich. Like, keep in mind how much money you have. I'm pretty sure, like, Maximus is actually walking around with hundreds of thousands of dollars at a time. So
Yeah.
you guys can retain some pretty fucking expensive lawyers and be okay.
Which is what we're kind of banking on right now. Like,
Yeah.
the other parts of the campaign, I felt really bad when, like, money comes up, someone bad has money, and, like, they can just buy their way out of fucking anything. But
Sure.
in this sense, we are now hoping that that works in our favor and that we see the...
Yeah, actually, roll
The-
me a... So
yeah.
Renesmee does have some experience with the system. Roll me just a basic intelligence check. Just this is recall from her time as a judicial duelist, because unfortunately a duel will not apply since this is a lawsuit that would take place in the state of Mithdosica, which outlaws dueling, but
Yeah.
Renesmee may remember some stuff, because there is something that's kind of relevant to this.
Okie dokie. Sorry, I have,
That's
unlike
okay. Yeah, no
some of
rush.
us, a million different fucking animal forms that I have to scroll past.
You do have those.
Yeah, I don't have one character. I have like 80.
That
And
is
I
true.
have to like
Vulture Nesmee and
a giant wolf spider,
Badger
Master.
Nesmee. Yeah, all
Oh,
the
yeah.
Esmees.
On the left, I just click intelligence. Like
There you
that.
go. A 5. Great. You know what you know. You're chilling. You're being chilling. So,
Oh, that's awful.
yeah, it's pretty bad. So we'd like to, as a pair, go reach out to a private barrister.
I think so. I have I wanted to ask you. I sent you in DMs, but it's
sure.
a little bit pressure sensitive. I guess time sensitive.
Oh yeah.
What did he do with that guy?
He kept him, and you kind of were out of the room when the details were made. All you heard him say was, "I think we have something for you," and then I believe you left the room to go do some stuff for Tullius.
Did we get his name?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. That's all I needed to know.
Okay, cool. So the two of you guys don't know where to find barristers. So you just do what everyone else does, which is you go to the entry hall of the inn that the Department of Faith is paying for, and you ask the local, basically, guide of the city. They know where all the things are. When you ask for a barrister, the guide will bring you towards a large building. It's sort of like an apartment structure. The first floor is made out of brick. The second floor is made out of wood. And on it's like sort of like a duplex where it's like split in half with, partitioned off into dozens of offices. And on several steel plaques on the front of the building, it displays that there are about 16 barristers' offices in this building. And he'll say, "Well, there's about one of these every block or so. Depending on the specialization you'll want, you'll likely want to shop around a bit. But this is what you'll be looking for if you're looking for barristers."
Ah.
And the guide will, give a deep bow, and he seems to linger for a moment.
While he's lingering, just as someone who knows the city, knows the businesses, the residents, what would you say is the best lawyer that money could buy in the city?
I mean, I'll be honest, I'm not entirely sure. I know where the most expensive ones are, but I don't know if that makes them the best.
That's fair. Do you know anyone who's frequently in lawsuits and winning them?
Can't say I do, ma'am.
That's alright. We'll check them all out.
All right. And as you go and look at these plaques, some details from your time as a judicial judge begin to return. Law in the Empire for barristers is only... So we're ignoring all of religious law. So everything throughout this whole campaign, we've talked about religious law, ignore it, because barristers don't belong in those courtrooms. Religious trials are not really trials in the traditional sense. They're just like one-sided smearings, and then you get convicted. There is no anything. It's just you're going to get convicted. But in a civil court, which is what all of this is going to be, that's where you start getting specialization. So each of these plaques gives the lawyer their first name, their father's name. It gives their clan name, if they have one, and then it says their specialization. Common specializations that you'll notice are commercial law, foreign treaty law, interstate law, and then you'll also notice sort of more nebulous topics like military law or things like that. And if you'd like, contract law is, of course, a cornerstone of any society of this level of bureaucracy. So there are going to be plenty of lawyers who specialize in that sort of thing. Yogi, about that DM you sent me, I need to check something, but I think that doesn't work for... I feel like there I'd have to double check. I'm double checking the spell to see what it says. Oh, whoa, it just doesn't say. Whoa, never mind. I thought it did the whole thing about, like, you know, what you need to know about the target, but it just says, whoa, a creature known to you. That's wild. Okay, cool. Yeah, that would definitely work. Remind me of that when we get to, you know, evening time.
Okay.
Okay, cool. So, yeah, what type of lore do we want to look for? Barrister.
What are the kinds that exist? Well, I assume
There's
that I know
tons.
the different kinds.
Yeah,
I would-
basically every single facet of law, there's going to be at least
Is
one
there-
person that specializes in it, and there's dozens that specialize in contract law.
Then I
Okay.
guess we want contract
Yeah.
law and maybe see if anyone has anything that they've had cases against the Department of Magic.
That would not be advertised in the little plaque outside
Okay.
of their office.
Gotcha.
Is there any other filter? Like, basically, I'm asking, you have like 12 lawyers that are all going to specialize in contract law. Are you just going to go into the first office you find and ask for a meeting, or are there further filters you're going to place?
I feel like Renesmee would kind of know more about this than I would as Jessica.
I
you know?
agree,
Would we
but
want-
the only details
Do they
on
have
these
their
plaques
clan
are
name?
name. They do have clan names, yes. That's what I was mostly asking about. Is there,
Okay,
like,
so do we want to? Who do we think? Do we know what the behind the scenes like thoughts are of each house? Like, a Fabricia
Yes.
is probably going to side with the Department of Magic and not assist us, I would think.
Yeah, so
I
five
don't know
of
for
the
sure, but-
the 5 most powerful clans of the Empire are each entitled to lead one of the departments. The Ignia has been the head of the Department of Faith since its founding, and their traditional rivals are Clan Fabricia and Clan Bologna.
Hmm.
And then at the current moment, you guys heard that, you know, the Department of Civility is massively beefing with the Department of Faith, which would mean Clan Lartia, because they're the current heads of the Department of Civility. Or we can just walk into the first office we find.
That might help. Yeah, sure.
Okay.
We'll see.
Great.
We'll see where it goes, and then we might know what we're looking for after.
Yeah, you guys walk into an office, the first one on contract law that you discover. There is a male secretary who informs you that the barrister is outside of the office, but he should be able to meet with you when he gets back from court in about an hour.
Okay, cool. We'll book that appointment and then go somewhere else.
All right, you go to the second building. You ask. This one person is out of town at the moment because they were drafted for Imperial military service. You go to the third one. This one is currently drafted for Imperial military service. You go to the fourth one. You talk to the secretary. They go to the door. They give a knock. They walk inside. They emerge and say, "The barrister would be more than happy to meet with you."
All right.
And
When can we set an appointment? Or right now?
Right now.
Oh.
And the two of
I
you
will
guys
put
head
my
on inside.
hand on Zednius's like wrist for a second. I'll be like, just so you know, that might actually be a red flag that he doesn't have clients. Who knows?
Of course. Okay.
Yeah.
You guys head on inside. The office is a very classical style. You know, it has pillars. It has very little furniture. It looks a lot like your boss's office in the Department of Faith, very austere, intentionally so. The desk is a beautiful deadwood desk, you know, made of that like dark black wood with all gnarled and warted, formed into the shape of a desk. The man himself wears a very traditional barrister's toga. They're not required outside the courtroom, so it'd be like, you know, someone wearing those little like wigs that like British judges wear outside of the courtroom. It's just a little bit traditional, old-fashioned. And he has very clean-shaven face and almost bald on the head with little wisps of white hair. And as you guys enter, he'll, you know, gesture towards the chairs across from his desk. All right, well, welcome. I assume you're here to discuss a potential case?
Yes.
All right, just give me a
we-
moment. And
Yeah.
he'll take a piece of parchment out of his desk, take out a little quill, dip it in an ink jar. The form already has some boxes to start with, and he says, "All right, and your names?"
I give him my name, but first and foremost, before we begin with this, we want to go over the confidentiality expectations of any case that comes to your door. We'd like to learn a little bit more about what you are able to keep confidential, what you're not, etc. If we have to have a retainer first, etc.
I see. Your first time doing this. Well then, within the Imperial ethical framework, there is no reason outside of Imperial security that any of the details of our meeting should be made public.
All right. And what does Imperial security mean?
A litany of crimes fall under the auspice of Imperial security. Threats made against the Imperial family, any statements attempting to impugn the Imperial government or remove it from power. If the lawsuit concerns any sort of things that could impact the war effort, that would fall under Imperial security. If the Emperor himself deigns that the details of the case be made public, they must be made public. And that's most of the things. There are some special cases, but that's most of it.
And what are the special cases? Sorry, we would like to be extremely thorough.
Well, if you are...
Hello?
Hello?
He died, not us. He's dead as fuck.
Hello? Hello? Hello?
Hi!
Oh, I don't know why that happened. When did I cut off?
As soon as
You
you
said,
started.
"Whoa."
Oh, as soon as I
you-
started. Well, if you are an Imperial agent, depending on what your duties are, then the entire terms of the contract may be made public.
And what does... Can you give us some examples for...
Sure.
Yeah.
So if you are a legate, for instance, legates, public officials of those types, do not have an expectation of privacy. All details regarding their case, including correspondence between their barristers, are to be made public. An old holdover from the days of the Republic. Public officials are held to a much higher standard.
I see. And would that include judges?
Imperial judges?
Yes.
No. No, that would include the senatorial ranks of Quaestor, Aedile Tribune, Praetor, Proconsul, and consuls are immune. Imperial judges benefit from something called Imperium. Essentially, as long as they are in the role of an Imperial judge, short of the Emperor declaring them unfit for duty, they cannot be personally prosecuted for their actions as a judge.
Interesting.
Now, I do charge by the hour, so if we can get this started.
Ah, yes. And what is your charge by the hour?
Well, it depends the type of case we're talking about. So we'll get this intake form filled out, and then we can discuss specifics.
Sure.
So he will get your name, then he'll want to know the province that you are from, and that's basically all he cares about.
Okay, cool.
He'll get Renesmee de Thaldro Fabricia. He'll
I don't know that I want to do this right
Sure.
now.
Well, he starts with Renesmee, and then after he gets her name and then her state, he'll look at you.
Well, if I like sense that he doesn't want to do this, if he like puts like a hand on my shoulder, he's like,
Yeah, we might
not
want to
feeling
hold
it.
off. There's a few. Let's do some research first.
Sure.
We might be able
Sorry
to figure this out.
to speak to you and then have to leave, but we are just kind of going around trying to find the best lawyer possible. And
Well,
yes,
I'll be
maybe
here.
back to your office. Yeah, thanks.
He'll give a nod, and you guys can stand up and leave.
As we're walking out, I'll just kind of whisper, I think we should maybe have Het Kagal spy on them over a couple days, each one, and see maybe who's the best.
Interesting. Sure. I think that
If you want to keep talking to them, that's fine, but I'll need a few days before I'm ready to make a hard decision. We've got all the time, don't we? It's not like we've got anywhere to go. There's no rush.
Yeah, I agree. We should look into all of them thoroughly. It's important.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Then, well, it sounds like Zednius is gonna go do some spying. As for Renesmee, what are you gonna do today?
I'm still just gonna
You
go
still
around
have that
and...
dagger, and he hasn't said anything to you yet, which is pleasant. Like, when you were talking to the barrister, I think a small part of you was worried that anytime you talked, the dagger would have thought you were addressing him, but the dagger seems to be capable of distinguishing, you know, when you're talking to other people versus talking to it. Which is a blessing.
Yeah, I'm happy that he's not talking to me. But nonetheless, I would like to just continue talking to lawyers and interviewing them myself, kind of sussing them out, getting a sense of their energy. Like, not that I'm going to hire them off of it, but rather, like, seeing their office, what the scene is in, how do their, like, receptionists greet me? Do they seem to have good... I don't know, you can go into a shitty doctor's office and kind of tell when it's shitty.
Yeah, so I think first things first, about half of all barristers are currently conscripted for the war effort. That is because to be a barrister, you have to be a senator, and senators are getting plucked, all over the place to go serve as officers on the war in the plains, because it's not going that great, as I'm sure you could tell at this point. Because of that, your pool is a lot more limited, and more importantly, the workload for a lot of those barristers is much increased. Most of them already have, some of them, they just tell you they have too many cases, including in the contract law space. So you're actually kind of limited down to about 6 barristers. And then of those, some of them have active cases, which would basically not allow them to work with you in the sense that they are representing one of the great departments, specifically the Department of Magic. So that leaves you 4 barristers to choose from. And between the 4 of them, the major vibes that you get are there's like traditionalist lawyers, sort of like that first guy you met, and then there's the more modern type. These people have books rather than scrolls. They don't have these austere offices. Some of them are more haphazard than others, but the thing is, to become an Imperial Barrister, you have to have at one point been a low-level judge. It's a very weird thing where, like, you become a judge of cases before you become a barrister in Mithdosica. So everyone here is going to know the basics of the law, and they're going to know the people involved, like the judge of the case, for instance. They're going to have a rapport with them, just through quirk of the Imperial system. Their level of education on the law is going to be very different, though, because not all of them even went to Symposium for Law. Many of them just were senators, became a low-tier judge, a tribune, and then decided, you know what, being a barrister would be cool, and then they went into that edge of the law. So some of them are less educated than others. Significantly so.
I think that we want someone who is probably highly educated on the intricacies of the law, but also someone who has good schmoozing like reputation with the judges. Because that's important.
Yeah, so the first guy you talk to, I think, comes off as the most knowledgeable. Like, one of the people you talk to, when you ask him any question, he has to consult his paralegal, which is not a good sign. And the other one you talk to, he's consulting his tomes, which maybe isn't the worst thing. He's like double checking that he's right, but you don't want to be doing that. So you really only have 2 options, which is the first guy you talk to, and there's a second person, which you go there alone. And he instantly assumes that you are here for business reasons. That's what he assumes the nature of the contract is. And he seems to immediately inquire as to the gold value of this transaction to see if it's worth his time. So, yeah.
Gold value. How do I answer that?
I have no idea how you'd answer that, because he's assuming you're a businessman or a business person.
Oh!
And he's like, what is the cargo that's being contested?
No. That is not the kind of case that I'm looking to have representation for. Is the presumption of confidentiality just for any even potential client, or is it only when you have a retainer? Sorry, too much real world knowledge.
Yeah, no, I understand. Yeah, so here in Mithdosica, it is the second that you start to elicit their services. Now, to be clear, anywhere else in Valoros, do not expect any of this to exist. Mithdosica is by far the most bureaucratic state, but here in Mithdosica, the second you speak to a barrister, you are considered under their care to a certain degree. And you get that, outside of Imperial security, you get your confirmed defense.
Okay, go at it.
So, well, yeah, you walk into this guy's office, he asks you what the value of the purchase is, you say it's not like that, and he'll sort of lean forward and clarify and say, all right, then, well, I'll put this simply. You're wearing nice clothes, so it sounds like you can probably afford my fee, but what could be worth it if we're not talking about cargo?
Something that I can't speak yet about, because I'm not the only person that would be retaining your services, and I want to make sure, absolute sure, that I don't speak out of turn here.
Well, then I'll put it this way. If what we're talking about doesn't make it worth it for me to get paid 1 gold an hour, then I'm not particularly interested.
How many hours do you typically do on a case? Your regular case?
That's primarily why I asked you the value of the cargo. If we're talking a...
It'll be a difficult case, I presume.
well then we'll try to keep this in the vaguest terms since you're trying to be, discreet. Are we talking about an individual, large corporation, or one of the great departments?
It'd be us going against an individual, hopefully not against a great department, but could, theoretically, if things went the worst way possible, turn into that. But we are hoping to resolve it at the individual level, but with...
all right, well, an individual could probably cost between 300 to 1,000 gold. One of the great departments, we're talking, up to maybe 10,000.
Understood.
No guarantee you win either.
Did you say 10,000 gold or
gold? Gold. This is all gold.
Oh man.
Is that how you get your clients?
I'm being honest with you. I don't try to give them a false sense of security. Going up against one of the great departments is almost a guarantee of defeat. You got to keep in mind they got a direct connection to the Emperor. I don't.
And individuals?
Individuals, that's a much better scenario. In that case, we could probably just clobber them with enough different motions and, cog up the works of their thing. We could easily get it dealt with in a couple of months. It's dirty tactics. People don't like it, but it does work.
All right. I will consult with the other party, and we're coming around town.
You better strike fast. Yeah. I think there's a shipment of wool coming into the city worth a couple million pence, and that's probably gonna have some sort of dispute, and I'll be there.
All right.
And yeah, you can leave the office.
Yeah. I shall leave the office, and I will, whenever I see, Zednius next, I will tell him about that conversation.
Probably be the next morning. So that evening, Zednius, you cast the dream spell on Optimer. What dream do you create for him?
Sorry, what is he doing?
He's casting a spell called Dream on a person named Optimer.
Why?
We'll get there.
Okay.
It's gonna be kind of just like a message. It's not gonna be some kind of crazy dream. It's gonna be, sure. I just want to walk up to him.
You can just talk to him. So, you will cast the spell. As you enter his dream, as it were, you find Optimer standing in front of a burning village. The dream almost looks like a painting. It's not super detailed. Optimer seems to be looking down at it. It almost looks like a reoccurring dream because Optimer doesn't seem confused by its contents. And you are just sort of now on the hill beside him looking down at this burning village, grass in all directions.
I'll just approach and be like, well, this isn't what I pictured.
He looks over and he looks really surprised and he seems to look around. You haven't been here before.
No. It seems like you're in a dream right now.
Yes. You're doing
Do you
magic.
like this dream? Yes.
Oh. He looks back down at the burning village, just this sort of watercolor display of flames rising from various huts.
I didn't come for fun. I need to know, are you still with Tullius?
No, we split at Nauseus.
Is he with the sorcerer?
No, I'm with her.
Do you know who he's with?
As far as I know, he's on his own. He just said he had to deal with somebody.
When was the last time you saw him?
A day and a half.
Day and a half. Did he say when he'd be back?
No.
If you
see him. He left me in a basement with that crazy sorceress bitch.
Right. If you see him soon, hopefully he comes back within the week.
I get the sense it'll be a while. He had a pack for camping out on the plains.
This makes this difficult. Well, then I'll try to keep this brief, just in case, because there's nothing else I've got. If he comes back, tell him his son Zednius and Renesmee need a favor from him. We've got ourselves into a pickle with a contract, and we need a lawyer that would ally with us.
I normally don't remember my dreams. Am I going to remember this when I wake up?
You'll remember this one, yes. Is there anything else you'd like in this dream? I can wipe away this scene, if you'd like.
No, it's a good reminder. But, can I ask you a question?
All right.
Tullius gave me a pair of what I can only describe as cuffs. Said that it would keep the sorceress from doing her magics. I was under the impression, tongues or hands would need to be removed. Do you think the cuffs will work?
If Tullius believes they'll work, they'll work.
All right, then.
And then all vamos.
Yeah. You end the casting of the spell, your eyes roll back into your head. You are in, the room that you're renting out at the inn in Mythos. And an odd dream. Didn't even seem like a nightmare, but definitely a recurring dream. Very odd. But yeah, the following morning, Renesmee, you head down to get some breakfast. Zenius is there.
Yeah?
And what do you want to share with him?
I spoke to another lawyer. I spoke to quite a few lawyers, actually. But one that I guess caught my attention a little bit more was, and I explained to him the interaction. Yeah. The thing is, a lot of the lawyers are out right now because they've been drafted, or conscripted, or whatever you call it. So that's an issue that's not working in our favor. And also, a lot of these judges don't have great training, great knowledge. I'll tell him everything that he said to me. He seems to be the kind of person that works for money. I'm not sure that he was a very great people person, so I don't know how great he'll be able to schmooze with the judges of the case, but I mean, it's an option.
Okay. My digging is a dead end. I don't know how much use my leads will be, and Tullius is very far away. I can't get him, unfortunately.
Tullius. We weren't meant to involve Tullius.
Well, I figured he would know who would side with us over the others, no?
But
He's someone who has our back.
Does he? No, Tullius is a whole can of worms that I never wanted to include in this.
Well, then that's good news, because I couldn't reach him.
Renesmee is perturbed, but but yeah, she's glad that he's not been able to reach him.
Yeah. So where does this leave us?
This leaves us looking maybe elsewhere for more options judicially.
Well, you could start reaching out towards. You just went to the ones within the city. You could start sending out messengers to barristers outside of Mythos. You could send them to the cities, other cities within the region of Mythasia. There are other settlements with thousands of people, plenty of barrister offices. You could contact your Department of Faith, judge, or clan lawyers, or barristers if you'd like.
I think we should try to figure out what the implied stuff in the contract is as well, right?
We could probably figure that out with this lawyer and then kind of swap lawyers for if there was going to be a trial, something like that. We could hire this guy to give us some general information, though we could also hire the first guy, who seemed to be very knowledgeable.
A question. How much money do we have?
A couple $100 gold.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if we were trying to do this on a 5 gold budget or something.
No, I think we really want to keep this dagger, and we are willing to pay for it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, if you want to just ask people legal questions, you could absolutely retain a lawyer.
Yeah.
Yogi, thoughts?
It sounds fine to me.
Would you rather retain the first lawyer that we spoke to, or?
Well, I didn't speak to the second one. I feel like whichever you choose is probably best.
Can I go and ask the second lawyer what his fee is?
The second one?
Or sorry, the first one. What his fee is?
Yeah, you can ask well, he did actually tell you. He said it would depend on the scope of the case.
Yeah, but I wanted, like, if I gave the same details, would he still be around, like, a golden hour? Like.
Yeah, you can ask his secretary, and yes, that is going to be the general price.
I kind of like the vibe of the first one better.
Okay. Well then,
So.
You guys schedule a meeting because he does have court early in the morning. But you guys head there at 10:30 in the morning, and the two of you show up in your fine clothes. The secretary waves you in. The office is austere and clean. The barrister is sitting behind his desk. He seemed to be reading a piece of parchment, but he will put that away so his desk surface is clean, and he'll look up and say, "Welcome back."
Thank you.
So have we decided to fill out the entry form this time? And he withdraws the same piece of parchment from yesterday.
Yes, I think that we will. Yes.
All right, well, I have your name and the state you belong to. And he looks at Zednius.
Wait, what are we exactly divulging right now?
We're just doing an
name and the
entry
state that you are from.
Would I just say Tortio Portia, or what would I say?
The state that you are from is Cisalia, I believe.
Oh, okay. And I'll do it Zednius Cisalia if Renesmee put in her information truthfully able to.
Yeah, you put in your name. After he gets those two things filled out, he'll say, "All right, now we can get to the details of this case. So, what is the? Are we drawing up a contract? Are we trying to dispute the resolution of a contract?"
Yes, perhaps dispute the resolution. Essentially, we'll have written down the exact wording or have a copy or something of that contract, because we know the exact wording of it.
You have a copy of it, yeah.
Yeah, I'll give him our copy of the contract for him to read over.
Are you sure?
Well,
yeah, I don't know. I just that's
Zednius
what we're divulging.
Yeah, Zednius seemed very remiss to share these things.
Yeah, I think we should just ask what are implied things about the law, right?
It would make it a lot easier if you gave him the contract, but
no.
Well, it would make it easier. You just may not like that.
Sure, yeah. We can very vaguely talk about what are the implied things around this contract, or around a contract. That sounds.
Someone provides us information for something, we get those things,
and then we have to forfeit the rest of the things to a department.
And what is your form of compensation in this? Is monetary?
Pro bono.
There isn't one listed.
Oh. That's odd. All right, well, then if this is actually very simple, this is perhaps the most simple contract there is. This was defined a lot more thoroughly, and he's going to start talking about, I don't know how long you want to let him yap for, but he's going to start talking about the history of contract law in the Mythosian Empire starting in the days of the Republic. Are you going to interrupt him, or are you going to let him go on his sermon of sorts?
Are you going to interrupt him?
I'm not interrupting him.
Okay,
I'm not
he's going to start
either,
going.
yeah.
So basically, he'll
am.
talk about how back in the days of the Reginian Republic, contracts like those had to be hyper-specified, and so talking about particular lines inside of contracts was basically the pursuit of the law, was like debating over the placements of periods and the writing of words and the structure of sentences, and, you know, contracts became these behemoth documents containing every little, you know, clause and subclause that could ever apply to the contract to make sure no one got screwed over. But when the first emperor took charge, he basically, the barrister will phrase it a lot more kindly than this, but basically the first emperor put a torch to the entire legal system and said, "This is dog shit. It only benefits rich people. We're going to make it so that most of these contracts things are implied directly by the law, but contracts just need to say like what the objects are. For example, the contract here, there's basically off an imperial law book, which he can probably reach into his one of the many drawers of his desk and withdraw an imperial tome and just flip to the page, because there is a template basically provided of this is what a pro bono contract work contract implies, and then you just fill in the details. It's sort of like Mad Libs. You say, subject 1, subject 2, additional subjects if necessary, do this work in exchange for this thing. Things like timeline, things like punishments, things like, fees associated, all of those are within this sort of template contract that he can just show you in the Imperial Law Book. The template contract is about 20 pages long.
Oh, but this is really short.
Yeah. So basically what you have there is like the Mad Lib that you plug into this template, and then you have the actual contract that you signed.
Oh, got it.
Yeah. So they've tried to refine it since the days of the first emperor, because he kind of, like I said, put a torch to the entire system. Since then, they've started to introduce more specificity, but for contracts as simple as this, they just use the templates, so that rich people can't write like crazy complex contracts. A poor person and a rich person should both be able to understand something that they're signing.
Valid.
Which ironically in this case led to confusion, because you guys didn't know what you were signing.
I wonder, if we're able to write out the exact contract, but take out identifying features. Like 1 second.
Take out
you don't even need to.
evil artifacts of Cal Rule. He'll
just show you the template, and you can mentally fill in the gap. So basically, this template contract, which is encoded in Imperial law, says that the time span that a contract needs to be delivered on is quote-unquote reasonable, which will be determined by the judge of the case. And then the punishment is going to either be monetary if it is under the sum of 1,000 gold. If the disputed contract thing is over 1,000 gold, it will be a low-tier criminal charge. And if there is somehow fraud involved in the dealing, if a judge determines that, then that will involve prison time, basically an imperial felony. And that's basically
the
a summary
judge
of it.
In this case? Is anyone who is able to judge this case?
I'm going to go double check my document, but I'm pretty sure it's any tribune of the Department of Civility.
Okay. When you say the word judge, it makes me think that I can just have Maximus be looks like Zennius and Renesmee are good.
There are four types of people who could preside over this case. A tribune, which is a middle tier senator rank. But since you guys are both judges and the other person is a part of the Department of Magic, it would likely be a praetor presiding over the case. You guys could probably apply for it to be up to 3 praetors, so a bench of judges.
Did Morgie get his praetorship yet?
Okay.
Did who?
Zennius looking? Sorry.
Did who get his praetorship? Bogdi. No, he has not gotten a praetorship yet.
Said look in the Pax Mithdosica Discord and see if you're okay with how vague that is. I think that if we showed him a sample contract like that,
I think getting rid of research purposes would also be good to get rid of. One of them, the plaintiff will keep one, and the others will be turned over to. I don't even know if I would say great department in there. I don't know what I would say.
I think that it is important that he knows
it
that
is actually
it would be
very important.
Okay, it makes it different. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, so you can present, verbally, you can just present this to him, and he'll sort of nod and say, all right, and what are your questions related to this?
Let's say that Defendant 1 and Defendant 2 went out with leads to the location of items.
Yes.
Specifically the location of one item. They did find said item, but then they wanted to back out of the contract.
Yes.
Or extend the reasonable amount of time as far as it'll go.
Let's say...
Unfortunately, regarding reasonable, that's going to be on a case-by-case basis since it's determined by the judge of the case. So you'd have to get your barrister to argue to the judge that your reasons for retaining it are legitimate and not fraudulent. But unfortunately, that really is incredibly case-by-case. The classic example that all law students learn in the symposium is that of a grain delivery. A farmer from the countryside says that he's going to deliver his grain to the city. The receiver in the city signs that contract. The farmer then waits a full year. The grain is rotted, it's disgusting, it's worthless. He delivers it and expects his payment. every judge in history is going to say that's unreasonable, but the same contract, but the item is gold instead, every judge will agree that that could potentially be reasonable if the, circumstances of the mine or whatever were struggling. So the underlying good that is being exchanged is incredibly critical to how a local judge would interpret the, contract.
How do you believe that this would be interpreted in the case of if it were an item such as gold, which is timeless, however, the plaintiff wanted to gain possession of said item within their lifetime, of course, to possess it during their lifetime?
Within their lifetime?
Like, for example, if a plaintiff agrees, or if a plaintiff makes a contract saying that they would like to have a certain, necklace, right? And they said that they want that necklace so that they can, study a jewel in it or something. And then the defendants wanted to give that necklace to the plaintiff at the end of their lifetime.
I think you'd be very hard-pressed to find any judge who would define reasonable as an entire human lifespan. The longest I've heard a hard good, gold, things like that, ever going was, I presided over a case where Sea Voyage went to the western kingdom of Cavaranth, about 2,000 miles westward, which is a journey that can take up to 6 months just by boat. However, they got shipwrecked, lots of basically it took them 6 years to end up fulfilling this contract, and so they were sued by every one of their investors, but ultimately they laid out in a very extensive catalog of all the places they had went and why it would have been impossible for them to get back quicker than those 6 years. So reasonability is sort of like a burden on the defendant in that case. If they were trying to, break the terms of the contract, they would have to prove as to why, this is a reasonable standard, and they couldn't just immediately deliver it to the plaintiff.
I see. Would you have any advice? Saying that
for the defendant?
For the defendants, yes. Well, of course, we're submitting ourselves in here, right?
For retaining it for a lifetime?
Yes, I think that as the defendants in this case do not want to hand over said item, for whatever reason it may be,
sure,
they have said change their mind, but they want to go by legal avenues of retaining.
Yeah, speaking purely
item.
by advice, I would not take a case if this case was offered to me, but speaking, from a perspective of an advisor, I would say that you would have to find a court that would be incredibly in the defendant's favor. You would have to explain why the item should not be turned over to the plaintiff, and then rather than moving to retain the item, move to have the entire contract null and void. There's no judge, even the most favorable judge ever, is not going to view that as a reasonable, retention period. But they could potentially view it as a reasonable reason to void the contract if the arguments of the defendant are good enough.
I see.
So we're looking to void the contract.
Well,
the defendant
1 and defendant 2. Yes. Interesting. I believe that
and who voids the contract? It would be one of the judges again?
In every case, for a case of this, simplicity, yes, a judge would have almost entire latitude to decide this. It would basically entirely be up to the judge.
And could that case ever be overturned? Appealed?
In very rare circumstances, this case would likely involve, since you are both senators, likely involve a praetor. In very rare circumstances, it can be appealed to the governor of that particular province, and, 1 in every 10,000 cases revolved on the provincial level can be appealed by the emperor, and he can overturn the ruling. But other than governors and emperor, there's no other process.
What governor would oversee it? The governor of the
well, assuming the defendants are from signed? Yes, correct. It would take place in where, ideally, this can get a little bit complex, and it's actually not my specialty, but assuming that the defendants and the plaintiff sign the contract in the same state, and then the, details of the case all revolved within one state, then yes, that state would deal with the case, not either the states of origin of any of the parties.
Interesting. Well, Zednius, do you have any other lingering questions?
Not for the barrister, no.
Yes, well, we might set up another meeting in future. to discuss.
right.
But you did say that in such a case you would not be interested in defending.
Unless there's an incredibly good reason why the defendants would void the contract, then in general, I would not be interested.
What would be a good reason to void the contract? Would the lack of payment listed be one of the reasons?
Absolutely. I mean, that's, of course, yes, the basis of a contract
but
is that.
It all depends on the judge.
No. If payment is a part of the thing that you had presented to me did not involve payment, if payment was involved and payment was not rendered, that is an instant reason to void a contract. Both parties must fulfill their end of the arrangement, or the underlying good must never be delivered.
But what if the contract doesn't list an exchange? It's just one.
If there's no exchange, then the party who signed it must fulfill the terms of the contract, unless they try to argue that they are unreasonable, and thus the contract should be voided.
Well, nonetheless, thank you so very much. And how many hours have we been speaking now?
1. Maybe even if that. So it'll be a solid 1 gold for the meeting.
Okay, I will take that off of my sheet in a second. Yeah. That's all right. Hey,
why are lawyers so expensive?
The real answer is because only senators retain them. There is no commoner in all of Mithdosica paying for a lawyer. So they can afford to charge, absurd rates, because senators are all instant landowners.
$1,000 an hour.
$1,000 an hour.
We couldn't have found some schmuck intern for half that?
You could have.
We could have.
Oh.
You could have found it for almost way cheaper if you wanted a schmuck intern. Fuck, you could have gone to the symposium and go to the law school and just pay a random student. Like, that's so fair.
I'm actually going to suggest that we, once we're out of the lawyer's office, Zednius, the second lawyer that I spoke to, he was also very well versed in law, but seemed more morally ambiguous. And in this case, unfortunately, I believe that we have to rely on moral ambiguity and using the system in our favor. So I do recommend that we...
Are we out of here? Are we out of the room?
Yeah.
You are well outside the barrister's office, yeah.
Well, if you're against moral ambiguity, why were you so peeved at me mentioning Tullius?
I don't trust
He's so
you
ambiguous.
or Tullius.
You have to trust me. I'm in the contract with you.
Doesn't matter. I trust you as far as I can throw you. I know that you're lying to me. Here you go again. No, you're not, right?
Lying about what? I said we could talk about this. Let's discuss it tonight when we have privacy.
Let's find privacy now.
Well, I have to pee real quick, so hopefully someone else has to.
Zednius sprints away full speed.
He just, fucking runs. I have to pee really bad.
Okay, well, the timeline is a little bit goofed, but that's fine, because there's so much downtime to go. So, we are going to cut to Maximus.
Oh, okay.
Good old Maximus, as we call him in the business. You have completed your first week of long rest, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
During your second week of long rest, is there anything you'd like to do?
Well, other than train my skill, what kind of social events do either aspiring or active low-level senators go to?
Yeah, so the province that you decided you wanted to go live in, I believe, was Transatlia, right? The one where you assisted the judge?
Yeah.
Do you just want to go live there for the next couple weeks?
Oh, not particularly, no.
Okay, so that's going to limit the option of social events, because that's where you're going to want to be building clout, if you're going to be setting up there.
I see. Are the social events available to a judge, better than those available?
No, judges don't really have social events. Judges are not... Technically, they outrank senators, but they're not, a part of the ruling aristocracy of the empire.
Okay.
They don't get invited to things.
Okay, in that case, I'd like to go find Renesmee.
Okay, I don't know where Renesmee will be. at this point in time, she may be in prison, depending on what she does.
Depending on if she tried to defraud an agent of the Department of Magic.
There's a lot of ways that it could go badly, so I think what we'll say is... But one of the social events that you could attend, this has nothing to do with being a judge or an aspiring senator, but there is a veterans, well, it's not really veterans, it's more so soldiers' ball of the 7th Legion being held, because there are now, because of the war on the plains, there are so many like disabled former 7th Legion soldiers in the capital that there's enough to just have a soldiers club again. So you can go to one of those if you want.
That is something I would like to do, yes.
Cool. Well, you will head down, not to the dock district, though not that far from it, the Pilgrim district of the city.
This is where I'm gonna get some first level shitter, and he's gonna make my armor fucking. Wait, is that what someone wears to one of these, or do they just wear normal clothes?
Normally, someone would just wear normal clothes, but if you want to roll up in plate armor,
normal
I guess you could.
Normal clothes it is.
All right, you head over. It's in the Pilgrim district. They rented out an entire bar for the night. There's a little set. There's the standard of the 7th Legion hanging outside the bar. You're pretty sure that violates some sort of flag code, but you just ignore it and head on inside. Within, there are a bunch of crippled soldiers in various ways. Some of them, it's obvious why they can't fight, missing leg, fucked up arm. You need both arms to be functioning to serve in the legions, and at least one leg, which many of these people don't have. There are also some where there's no physical wounds, but you can see the looks in their eyes, 1,000-yard stares, a lot of like stuttering. Men react very strangely to battle. But the majority of them are physical injuries. And, you spend the first little bit talking to soldiers that served most of them have served much more recently than you. A lot of these guys have fought on the plains as well, against the dragon. But there's one person that you recognize, you're like just sitting down at the bar, you've talked to one or two people, you're just ordering a drink, you're looking out at the bar, and you see in a booth is a familiar face. Back in your time, you knew him as Ironbrow, Gallus Ironbrow, and he was the Tribunus Equites, which is kind of like the quartermaster of the 7th Legion. He got his nickname Ironbrow because he would just stare at people. He would never speak, he would just stare at them during meetings, and if they said something he didn't like, he would continue to stare at them. It was incredibly unnerving. All of his inferiors fucking hated it because he just wouldn't talk, he'd just stare at them. And so, yeah, he was not very well liked when you were in the Legion.
God, that's funny as fuck.
But yeah, he's just in one of the booths. He has no clear physical problem.
Alright, you said Gaius Ironbrow?
Gallus Ironbrow.
Gallus. Alright, I'll get a second drink then.
Yeah.
And walk over to him.
Yeah, there's another person next to him, but he wasn't talking, and as you approach, he just stares at you.
Ah, I see. You haven't changed much. I'll hand him the drink.
He'll take it. I'm a senator now. You're supposed to call me Gallius.
And I'm a judge now? I can still call you Ironbrow if I want?
Fine.
But no need to, push the buttons if we don't want to. Gaius will do just fine.
How'd you become a judge? I heard your knee got destroyed.
It's not the same as it used to be, but I can hobble around well enough. And as for how I became a judge, I sort of took down you probably knew some of them. After I left, me and I don't think I have their names written down, Alex. But
yeah, I know what you're talking about, though.
Yeah. Insert names of former.
There's like 17 of them. It was you and your basically half your century just left.
Yeah, there were a bunch of them.
Yeah.
We all formed a mercenary company.
I heard about that. I didn't know you were a part of it, though. I think there were some plans to have those deserters get hunted down.
Yeah, I did that.
Oh. He seems to reevaluate you, though. He does continue to stare.
After some shenanigans, yes. I eventually was the one that had to go out and get them. And
well, you got out while the going was good.
I'll look around the crowded bar. Apparently so.
This isn't even the worst of it. You know, I keep, you know, I'm a fancy senator now, so I keep in contact with some of the old friends I had in the Legion still out there on the plains, and it's not good.
Doesn't seem like it's good for any Legion. I haven't heard.
I hear it's good for the first.
It's always good for the first.
That much is true.
Wait, Alex is the first? Did the first just go out there and cause the defeat of the dragon, or are they still just big chilling out?
The first, basically, so you're correct. But basically what happened is the dragon beat the shit out of Legion after Legion after Legion. Then dragon was killed. Then the son of the dragon took over, started beating legions. Finally, the first Legion comes out, wins its first battle, and basically says, "We've won the war, guys." Like, that was the edict that came out like a week ago or so, where the next emperor, probably, he's the leader of the first Legion. He said, "Yeah, guys, we beat the son of the dragon. We're gonna win the war pretty soon." So they just came in at the very end of this, 6-year-long war and said, "We did it, guys." And so...
Okay, so,
yeah.
How decisively did they beat the dragon?
If you go by that official statement that they made as of a week and a half ago, they say very decisively.
I imagine they didn't release any specific details. Like,
no, and there is no free press in the Mythosian Empire.
What exactly did they do out there? All they said was they basically won the war.
At the Battle of Lavaca, I mean, obviously, I can't talk too much details. I don't want to get in any trouble, but I'll just say this. When they actually manage to take Ivangrad, I'll believe that they're winning the war. All of this is being fought on our damn land. Once we actually take some of theirs and we start fighting battles on their territory, that's when I'll listen to, any official reports.
Now, maybe once I suppose it's a bad sign if they don't release details about it.
That's what I'm saying. I remember, back when we fought in the Third Boyars War, every single day casualty numbers would go back to Mythos because it was 25-1, 20-1, 15-1. I haven't seen a single one of those since the war on the plains started.
Well, yeah, they come back in the form of 4th Legion destroyed. You don't really want to release specific numbers about that. It's a bit depressing.
That's why I said you got out when, the going is good. Plus, you're a judge. What do you folks even do? Just, kill broken men?
No, I wish. Only it was that easy. No, we've been mucking around down south for a while.
In the Deadwood?
Fighting in the Deadwood.
He was pretty hostile when he mentioned you being a judge, but his face seems to soften considerably when you mentioned the Deadwood. That's tough fighting.
Aye. I always had respect for those who fought in the Galentine War.
He nods.
Yeah.
That's a real war. Fighting for the good of the Empire. Defending our home territory. Good men lead it too. The former Consul Militum, Galenus, he got reassigned. I think he's taking over the 5th Legion, 4th Legion, one of those two. Maybe he'll be able to turn the war on the plains around like he did the South.
Alex Galenus?
Galenus is what the war is named after. The Galentine War is named after the Consul Militum Galenus, the general who won the war.
How old is he now?
Well, the war happened 5 years ago, so he's about the same age as he was in the Galentine War.
That's right, it wasn't that long ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
Huh. Well, maybe he'll be able to turn some things around.
It's
not. It's either a good sign or a bad sign.
And you guys will continue to drink, and eventually the topic of clan will come up, because Gallius is actually very proud of himself, because after you left, he was the rank of Tributus Equites, which is typically a rank for a full senator, but in rare cases it'll be given to a commoner. He was a commoner, but he retained the position long enough that they basically had to promote him to senator or it was going to start looking weird. So he managed to get into the Great Clan Bologna, and he'll basically, throughout this conversation, you start to realize he assumes that you are also part of the Great Clan Bologna. He's talking about, dictates coming down from the head of the clan, just basically assuming that you read them. Do you ever correct him?
No, that'll be okay.
Cool.
I have a feeling he's not gonna take it too well if I tell him I'm in Clan Ignia now.
Yeah.
Unless he starts divulging some Well, actually, no. I'll let him.
He's more so generally talking about. So he got out of the Legions very recently, actually, about 4 months ago. So he's still in the process of what you were trying to get through, which is, his application to get his shit for serving in the Legions and being in the senator, being a senator and all that stuff. He's been going through the senatorial selection committee for about a year and a half now. So he's been waiting for all this stuff to get filed. Yours, of course, taking a week. And so he's just
I'll, if he's mentioned that, I'll say, as part of what we did on the Deadwood, I was actually awarded a senatorship as well.
Really?
Yeah, it's not supposed to start till after I finished my term as a judge. But
makes sense. I would have thought you just got that for being a judge. I mean, they're always walking around so high and mighty. I just assumed they were senators.
It's weird. Technically, they outrank senators, but not like it's only in specific case-by-case scenarios. It's
his
odd.
Eyes kind of glaze over. He doesn't know what the fuck you're talking about.
You don't get to be a senator for being a judge, but it can help you a lot. Someone I met actually helped push through the application. Got it done in about a week.
He spits out some beer on the table. The guy that was just sitting here, like, there's been a guy here this whole time, a third person just listening, and he sort of gets out of the booth and walks away because he just got some fucking, booze spit on him. And Iron Brow just furrows his brow and gives you the stariest stare that has ever stared.
Stare?
Yeah, he gives you the stare, and he just says, 1 week.
You should become a judge, It's,
I was a tribunus equites for 6 years before they started my application. And now that I'm, started the retirement process, it's still been a year and a half before any of my assets have been allocated. How the hell did you get it done in a week? Who's your friend, the bloody emperor?
No, but he knows the emperor.
He blinks a couple times. The stare is broken.
Well, like when you say the stare is broken, do you mean he stopped staring at me? Or
the power of the stare doesn't really hold as well when he's blinking like 6 times as his brain is restarting. You're telling me you know a member of the Imperial family?
Oh, I know a couple actually. I work with him. He's a judge with part of this, but then, yeah, I think he's
Maximus, the cavalry commander, the shit shoveler.
The shit shoveler?
Look, you weren't always on horseback, all right? Everyone had to do it, it's no shame, but still, you're a normal man.
Oh, I see. Everyone starts somewhere. Like I said, become a judge.
He sort of leans forward and says, are they... And he looks a bit embarrassed, but also a bit in awe. Are they divine? They say that the Emperor is a god, so I always sort of imagine his family members would be like angels.
Isn't that, objectively heretical?
Yeah. This guy doesn't know fucking Imperial doctrine, bro.
That's not why I was asking.
Yeah, no one in the Empire knows shit.
Yeah, no. Oh, heavens, no. No. They're, some of them can cast magic. I don't think that's inherent to being a part of the Imperial family. In fact,
have you seen him?
Members of... When he's saying members of the Imperial family, he means, Clan Veruzia, right?
Presumably, or the bloodline of, sorry. It's Clan Perusian with the P. The bloodline is Verusian. But, yeah, either of them works. He basically means both. Again, normal people don't have this level of, specificity.
Yeah, that makes sense.
He's just like the Imperial family.
Here's what I'll tell you. I saw one of the members of the clan get disintegrated in person. Dead. Dead as a doornail. Now, they brought him back.
He came back from a disintegration?
I didn't think you could either. But
I didn't know they even. I mean, I knew they brought people back, but I've never seen it before.
I didn't think you could bring someone back from disintegration. I saw the man with my own 2 eyes. Well,
I don't know what you're saying, but that sounds a lot like an angel to me.
maybe. But I don't think an angel would have let himself get disintegrated in the first place.
I don't know. Those religious types are always doing weird things. There was that, actually, you remember him. There was that one father we had during the Boyers War. There was that village of locals that, tried to overthrow the Empire, and he thought he'd just walk on in and they'd, embrace him with open arms. I mean, they tore the man apart. I mean, what was he possibly thinking? But, those religious types, they're a bit screwy in the head.
Tell me, you, oh, Father Rixion is. Father Galentine is.
The Inquisitor?
Was he an Inquisitor, Alex?
No, he's a judge.
No. He was always a judge? I'm saying was
always
he
a judge, yeah.
At one point. Okay. No. What did he do? He did something real big in Galentine.
Let's see if you can remember.
I absolutely can't. No.
Rip. Roll intelligence check.
Okay. Check something real quick. I don't. Oh. A 6.
Nah, you know that he fought in the Galentine War and he killed someone important.
Killed someone important? Did he kill the fucking?
He killed someone important.
The High Necromancer?
He killed someone important.
Nah, alright, whatever.
He killed somebody.
That's a mystery. He killed someone important. I can't remember who.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of heroes from the Galentine War. One man I do know, though, there was that fella, what is it, the Butcher of Gnossius, Hangman of Gnossius, something like that. The Father Hyperion? That's another crazy fella. I mean, he must have killed 1 in 10 in the slums of that city. A real butcher.
Father Hyperion?
Yep. I remember that one well, because a couple of our men requested a leave, and they went into the city.
That's the guy we went to the Isle of Gela with, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I met him. Fought with him, in fact.
Oh, I saw him from afar once as well. He's a bit underwhelming when you see him, but I mean, his record doesn't lie.
No, we went to the Isle of Gela together.
What's that? Is that some sort of vacation spot?
No, it's
It is
basically it wasn't then. It's a small island off the coast up north. There's a cult up there we had to go kill.
Like an actual, like to what?
Some pagan raven god.
I didn't even know those still existed in the Empire. I mean, you hear you hear like stories of Inquisitors, doing all that stuff, but it's like the funny columns, you don't actually think it's real.
Oh yeah, get this. They didn't even use like proper currency up there. Had to buy these.
Well, no wonder you're standing here and not one of those cult
iron
fuckers.
Coins. Didn't speak common of any kind. It was weird. It's like stepping back 600 years.
And that's in the Empire.
Oh yeah. Alright, there was a garrison up there and a castle and all that, but beyond the walls, basically might as well have been, the West for all the power Mithdosica had until we moved in. Well, that place is thoroughly calmed down now.
Think the judges have any use for an old quartermaster who can't swing a sword? Doesn't sound half bad.
Well, I suppose swinging a sword would be the important bit. I still do a lot of that. Why? What happened to you? I'll look him up and down.
Yeah, he has no physical injuries as far as you can tell. He just sort of scratches his neck. Did you hear about the Battle of Kaloi?
The name sounds familiar.
It's the one out in the east. The first one the dragon fought. Destruction of 2 legions.
Oh, well.
I was being, I was doing a training exercise, you know, on loan to that legion when the battle happened. I was one of the lucky men who managed to get a horse and get away, but it's just, you know, it's just soldier fatigue when I hear the sounds, you know, when I see the swords approaching me, I just...
Yeah.
The body won't listen.
I'm from... Alright, well... You'll get your due here. You'll get your land, your gold.
I mean, I know it's a big ask, but that friend of yours, I mean, I'd buy him a couple drinks if he could expedite my contract by just, hell, even a couple months. I don't need a week.
Next time I see him, I'll bring it up for you.
I appreciate it.
Of course. You can just sit chit-chatting for the rest of the time.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots to remember. The Third Boyers War was a long conflict, and before that, you guys fought in the... You know, for as much as that Pax Mithdosica is hyped up in the core provinces, you never once had a period of longer than, like, a month where you weren't fighting something. So there's lots of memories, and outside of combat, there's just goofy shit, like, you know, new legionnaires who come in and don't know how to properly affix their armor and end up dropping a breastplate in, like, a latrine. Like, there's just tons of shit that are, like, stories to remember. And it's really nice doing it with someone from your legion, from your time, from, you know, that you actually knew. Because there was that time a couple, like, this was like 10 sessions ago, where you decided to go to a different legion's sort of club that they had, I believe it was the 9th or something. And it was nice. I mean, it was nice talking to fellow legionnaires, but this is like another level of connection. He even tells you about, you know, his wife and his son. You know, once he gets his senatorship dealt with, he's going to be a proper quaestor. You know, he's going to rule a little village. He's going to raise his son better. He's hoping to get a couple more kids down the line. He's also a couple years older than you, but you're very similar in terms of background. You know, he's a nobody from a shithole family that managed to, you know, gain status through service in the legions. He just can't fight anymore, unlike you. But yeah, it's an enjoyable night, and eventually...
Alex, I get the feeling that the Third Boyers Revolt was more of just a, you know, sort of a one-sided slaughter than it was a real conflict.
Correct.
Sick. All right, then.
Yeah, so the Third Boyers Revolt only lasted, like, I think 5 months, but the... like, what is it called? The guerrilla actions beforehand and afterward lasted way longer. So technically the war, the conventional conflict was very brief. You never fought in a major battle during the Boyers War, but it's all the other stuff that took years off your life of just constant, like, killing rebel groups, patrolling areas that you know that are dangerous, etc., etc. Just tons and tons of stuff like that.
See.
Alrighty, well, with that, we are going to cut back to Schmednius and Shrenesme. Zednius sprints away full speed to go pee, and then he returns. And I know we interrupted your thought process, but you had just spoken to the first barrister, and you were contemplating speaking to the second, or an alternate route to preserve, you know, to retain the dagger.
Yeah, Renesmee wants to speak in private, so let's... I've gotten back from my pee. Let's go to the hotel. I don't know where we're staying. That would
You're
have
staying
the
at
most
an
privacy.
inn paid for by the Department of Faith, if you want to.
Is that secure? I don't know how much I
would
trust
not
that.
say so. It's an inn
Would
with a lot of
Tullius
people
not
going
talk
in
to
and
me
out.
in something like that? Where would somewhere be that Tullius talks to me?
Yeah, you go to a very fancy restaurant. You ask for a private booth.
Okay.
Cool. It's just
do
you and
that.
Esme.
All right, we're in the private booth.
Yep.
So what do you need to know?
What do you need to tell me?
Well, the more you know, the worse it could be for all of us. I don't even know everything. I just know that, you know, things aren't going great for the Department of Faith. You saw it on the proconsul's face.
What do you mean?
The other departments are against us. I don't know what it is. The Department of War might be making a power play. I'm not entirely
I'm not
sure.
interested in any of that. I'm interested in why you were lying about that magic caster that we brought to you.
Because it was for the best.
I need to know more details, Ednius. I'm not going to trust you with just the vague answer.
What you need to know, and what I know, is that me and my family, and everyone I care about, is in trouble. And I will use every resource and everything under my ability to make sure that we stay safe. That includes you, you know.
Mm-hmm.
She's with Tullius, or somewhere with Tullius. I don't know the exact details, okay? It's a need-to-know basis. The more I know, the more likely I get abducted and put in the zone of truth. And that would ruin everything.
Why did you need to lie?
Because you would cause a scene.
Would not.
I just kind of roll my eyes. I don't believe you.
Well, I don't believe you. I knew that you were lying, and you didn't tell me that it was on a need-to-know basis. You didn't tell me anything. You just expected me to... I don't know. I don't know what you expected me to do. You were clearly lying, and I clearly didn't trust you, and you still lied to me.
I was not clearly lying. It was a pretty good lie, actually.
It wasn't. I caught on to it immediately.
I rolled like a 24 on my deception check, okay?
It doesn't matter. I still knew what I knew. Like, I didn't metagame it. I just felt like something was fucking wrong. And I was right. I actually didn't know that something was wrong.
That is true. It was literally impossible for her to metagame.
Yeah. I was not privy to any information except my own Peachachoo vibe check, and you failed that. So, that is what matters. You failed my Renesmee vibe check.
Well, the answer is someone with her abilities is probably more use to us with us than against us, or whoever this Pacentia is. We don't even know who she is.
Why do you think that anyone would come after you or I if I knew what the hell is going on?
Because getting to you or getting to me can get to him, which will get to all of us, which will get to everything.
To who? To Tullius?
Sure.
What do you mean, sure?
I don't even know what you're referencing. I just want to keep us safe. And whatever that takes, giving Tullius whatever he needs. I trust him. I get that you don't. But, I mean, he trusts you. He let me come back and be a judge with you guys, even though I died last time, if you forgot.
I haven't forgotten. That doesn't mean that he's good just because he's...
Of course it does. I owe my life to him more than once now at this point. Of course he's good.
He's good to you. How do you know that he's just not using you?
Using me for what?
Power.
Then I'll give him all the power he wants. He's given me a life. Again.
See, that's the problem. You'd be alright with him using you for power. Because
as long as he brings me with him, which he has so far, hasn't he? I'm a judge of the Empire. I've got my own estate. Me and Hegol are doing just fine. I haven't been thrown in the dungeons for heresy or executed like so many others. We've been protected.
That's it, yeah? You just look out for your own? As long as he keeps you around? The good of the Empire,
of course.
The good of the Empire? Well, you said that you'd be alright. I know, but you just said that you would be alright as long as he took you along.
What do you mean? Like, yeah, I don't want to just be some sort of object. He's my father.
What happened to the magic caster?
She's being, as far as I know, she's being inducted into the Frumentari, similar to how I was. I don't know much else. You know I only had her the one night.
How did she really escape?
How did she really escape?
Or not escape, but what really happened to her? You told me that she was
rendered unconscious, and then with Tullius and one of his guards. And if you must know, the same night, there was an assassin sent to kill me.
Really?
Yes,
Why?
really. Why? I don't know. There's people after us, Renesmee.
Why?
I don't know. But they are.
You have no idea why there are people after you. Not even one clue in the slightest.
Because there are people that know things that we couldn't ever, like, they have power, they have access to the Emperor. They're the leaders of these great houses. They're not friends. Not everyone has the same interests in preserving the Emperor as we do. Some people see it as an avenue to power. And if they can remove us, people that are loyal to him, maybe that they can take that power themselves.
What about
That's my opinion.
Threatening
He
people?
didn't tell me that. Threatening people how?
Threatening our friends for if they don't join him for power. And Tullius said, power just for power. That if people didn't join him, that he would ruin them. I'm not divulging information to you now. It's on a need-to-know basis. I don't need to tell you what he threatened, who he threatened.
So you're against us then?
I'm not against anyone.
It sounds like you don't.
I just want to know the truth.
I've given you everything I know.
No.
Now you're withholding information.
You haven't given me everything you know.
What could I do to convince you? Do you need to go hire a cleric of Zone of Truth? I've told you everything.
Absolutely, I would love to hire a cleric and get you into Zone of Truth. Are you
Do we know any that we can trust?
I don't know, but
I don't think you know any clerics.
Yeah, I don't think we do either. Rixion's gone.
Yeah.
There's Mother Dulcion, which you trust, Father Hyperion, but they're both on the plains.
Yeah. But what about you said that you were scared of telling me information, and that the less I know, the better, right? To keep me safe. And now, I'm asking you, what in what you just told me, which apparently is everything, did you think would get me hurt?
I don't know, just being close to me, I guess. Considering I don't know everything and there are assassins sent and hired by my own master servants to assassinate me. I'm not sure. All I know is they're going after Tullius, and I'm attached to Tullius, and you're attached to me, and so is Maximus, and Grania, and all the other Jeverus.
All right.
Do you believe me about the assassin, or am I lying again?
Don't be so sassy with me, Zenius.
So based. Based Renesmee.
Sassy build.
I'm not sure. I think I believe you, but
I think it's worth
been
rolling
made
an insight
a fool
check here.
before.
Because regardless of what Zednius is saying, which I'm largely going to ignore, I think in terms of body language, there is one thing that you would be able to tell. So roll me an insight check, Renesmee.
Sorry, it's so slow.
That's okay. Now, Yogi, while she's rolling this, as we both know, an assassin did try to kill you. And the vibes that I'm getting are Zednius is very concerned by that. Is that accurate to say?
Yeah, considering like half the people I interact with now are trying to get me assassinated. Yeah, I'm a little bit paranoid about this.
I think the main thing you can tell Renesmee is when he made the comment about the master servant hiring assassins to kill him, that didn't feel like it was like a pre-canned response. Like when you spoke to him back at his estate, you know, like 2 weeks ago or whatever, that was clearly something that probably Tullius coached him on how to say, right? Or something similar. But when he said that, he actually seemed pretty fucking freaked out because, you know, his master servant hired someone to kill him, or at least hired on someone who was going to try to kill him. He seemed, I think, not composed when he said that, which I think is a pretty good clue that at least that part of it, I think he's emotional about.
Okay. Then I've vibe checked him on that, and I believe him on that specific front.
Where are we at? I don't know what I asked last.
Yeah, you just asked me if I believe you, and I said don't be so sassy. That generally I believe you. It's just that I've been made a fool before.
So where does that leave us in the more broad scheme of things?
That's a good question. Well, I
hope we can start to build that trust again. I mean, I've told you everything I know. I hope you would tell me if Tullius threatened you. That would, bother me.
Would it change anything?
I would at least try to find out why he thought threatening you would work. You don't seem the type to bend to that.
I can't tell you because it's for your own good and for the protection of everyone that I care about too.
So you're just another Tullius in my life then?
Yeah, well, you seem to love him so much, so I'm sure that tactic will bode well with you too.
I'm sorry, but you're not of a high enough class to marry me. Looking in the senatorial class,
No, it's okay.
You'd marry Maximus.
Pug.
True.
Oh my god. What are we doing with this dagger, guys?
Yeah, I
We're
don't know.
keeping it.
Yeah, how?
I'm not saying you can't keep it. I'm just saying, like, how are we doing this?
Okay, so let's discuss that while we still have our privacy. What are we doing with this dagger? You told me I can't reach out to Tullius.
Something to consider. You could always just bring in Maximus or Grania if you wanted, like, Yogi or Ethan or not Yogi, Doda or Ethan to contribute their thoughts.
Yeah, but I think that their thoughts would be, hey guys, this is awful.
Just give it over.
Yeah.
That would definitely, maybe, potentially, I don't know. I don't actually know. I mean, Maximus, that's my guess, but maybe not. Grania, I have no fucking idea. Grania is a wild card. She crazy. For real, for real.
And Severus is here, but Heko isn't, so.
Correct. Severus is in the booth. Well, he's not in the booth, but he's in the city vibing.
He's kicking himself that he didn't steal the dagger.
Yeah, there you go. So what are we?
So
doing?
what are we doing about this thing? Because unless we can figure something out, well, okay. So we're just gonna wait and then see if she summons us to court, or what do we? Is that the plan?
No, but I think that we go and speak to the second lawyer. We wanted to get their opinion. So we'll do that. And we'll see how that conversation goes. At the very bare minimum, I think that we could extend the amount of time that we have it, but we would have to justify it, right? We would, let's say, bring it to someone else to ensure that it really is the artifact, and then conduct tests to make sure that it's okay to have, and then...
And you think that we would get through a zone of truth with that?
Well, what's important in a court of law, right, just like the ship analogy being used, is that we have to have a reasonable explanation for why it's taking so long.
And if the reason that it's taking so long is uncovered as a zone of truth is that we just want to keep it as long as possible.
Well, that could be that we would like to keep it as long as possible, but also we do want to, if we were getting it tested and making sure it was the item that was requested, two of those truths can exist at once.
Also, I wouldn't expect I don't think you guys should go into this expecting a zone of truth to ever be cast in this case.
Even if we just say, oh, we didn't find it.
Okay. Never mind. Yes, if you do that, then that's different. But, I mean, if you're trying to dispute the contract, I don't see... What zone of truth are just very expensive fact-finding tools. If you're disputing the contract, there's no facts to be found. It's just the interpretation of the contract. It's not like they don't need you to, I don't know. I don't even think, depending on what you dispute about this contract, this could literally be like a 1 week long court case. It could be the simplest thing ever. If you guys just getting in a room with the judge and you're just doing an arbitration and it's done in 6 hours or something. Yeah.
Well,
so,
what is interesting about the contract is it just says one of the items that we could.
She's keeping one of them. The rest of them are going to the Department of Magic. And yes, exactly. You're right. It does not specify the item.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but I don't know that helps us if the other ones go to the Department of Magic anyway.
I don't think it helps you at all.
I'm just, trying to weasel it around.
Yeah, I mean, I respect it. I respect the weaseling.
So, where do we end this? We're just going to try and wait and maybe try and see how long...
We're going to speak to
Desmond brought up a good point, which is the delay tactic, because she's completely right. You absolutely can drag your feet on this, and with reasonable
If we drag our feet long enough that we get sent out again, is that good?
Potentially. For example, if we're getting it, if we decide, you know what, we need to make sure that this is the artifact of Karul, because we're not 100% sure it could not be, and in the contract it says that we have to give over the artifact of Karul, and so we need to go and have it assessed, and we want to get the longest and most comprehensive, thorough assessment possible, and then while it's being assessed, we have to go to another place. Well, clearly, if we have to move for our job, we have to take the artifact with us.
This is all true. She's completely right. So, I mean, you would probably want to talk to, again, a barrister to get these steps worked out properly. But yeah, if you get get the item identified by a secondary source.
If we can delay as long that we go out on our next mission, that's probably good enough. I don't know if you can delay that long. Time.
Okay. A month and a half is a really long time to delay for what is basically an identify spell plus a little bit of historical research. But you could definitely delay about at least several weeks.
Okay.
Well, and to be fair, that's several weeks after she starts to pursue it. So.
Right, and then I'm just thinking, is a few weeks enough time to see if we can figure out a way to fully void the contract?
It's more time than you have right now.
It is more time than we have right now. Sure, let's go to the lawyer and figure out.
But let's go to the second lawyer as well, because the second lawyer specifically was talking about time delaying tactics and burying people in homework, etc.
Yes, he was.
Seems like that guy is really up our alley. The guy that said it cost
10,000 gold, though?
Against a great department, absolutely.
But he's just offering counsel, right? So he doesn't.
For now, yeah. Though, yeah. So you guys make your way to the second barrister's office. You leave the restaurant behind. It is going to cost you 3 electrum. I don't know who wants to pay that, but
I don't have any electrum on me.
Well,
I will pay that. No problem. I haven't removed it from my sheet, but 1 gold, 3 electrum on my mind.
Alrighty. You guys make your way to the second barrister's office. It's getting later in the evening. Luckily, that means the courtrooms are no longer functioning, so the office is open. The secretary will have you guys pause in the lobby for a little bit and then lead you inside. The barrister, he has a nice office. It's sort of brown is the main color pattern thing. A lot of leathers, the bookshelves are made of a dark sort of brown wood. He's wearing very normal clothes, just business casual is the best way to describe it. And as you guys enter, his desk is littered with scrolls and papers and motions, and he just sort of pushes that to the right-hand side of his desk and scoots his chair over, so he's on the left-hand side, and then he gestures towards, there's 4 chairs on the wall, he gestures for you to grab 2 and come over to the desk. So you brought someone else along this time. Does that mean we're getting something signed?
Eventually. I think so, yeah. We want to speak more about get some more legal advice from you.
Okay. And he reaches over to the right-hand side of his desk and flips over an hourglass. All right, let's get going.
All right, and I will produce the same, very vague script.
Yeah.
That I showed the other guy, and I will go over it again with him and see how he interprets that the defendants could get out of this, or lengthen it as much as possible.
The defendants could... this is nothing. The defendants could get out of this in a heartbeat.
Is that what he's saying?
Yeah.
Oh, and how so?
Well, okay. So it says here, turned over to Great Department, but clearly you're going to be going through an intermediary. Great Department bureaucrats don't make deals like this. They'd be giving you, a custom-made contract. So I'm assuming this is something you signed with someone that works for a Great Department, the plaintiff. In that case, their ability to pull on their department's resources is going to be highly limited to how much they want to impact their personal reputation. So unless we're talking about something, insanely valuable here, this case can be a one and done. We can get this resolved in arbitration in a week. I can get the defendants, and he just sort of looks at the two of you, off without basically any charges. I mean, we could get this resolved by the end of this week.
And if again, it is an item of great value?
Define great value.
I look at Zenius to see if he gives me like a go-ahead face. I'm not going to say the whole thing, but like...
Just what was the bulk? What did the great cowl sell for?
The cowl sold for 28,000 gold.
Okay, so I would say I'm gonna like whisper, is 50,000 gold? Would that be a good numer amount, or what do you think?
What?
Should we just give an amount of gold, or are you gonna say legendary magic omega object?
No. I would say like something of great historical importance, and also in the tens of thousands of gold range.
Okay, yeah, I think he's going to care more about the monetary value, but yes.
Yeah. Something of, tens of thousands of gold range.
Oh.
Yeah.
And, this is the only... what you have here, this is the only contract you signed in relation to this?
Yep, only thing.
Okay, so it's not the Department of Coin or Civility, so it's clearly faith, magic, or war. Can't be war. It would have been faith? Oh my god. Okay, I don't know where you found a bureaucrat that let you sign something this lax for something that valuable. So we're either dealing with faith or magic. I don't know, this is... Okay. I mean, I know it's going to basically tell me this, and I know you're trying to be discreet and all, but are we dealing with the Department of Faith? Because if so, I can't help you. They're just going to arrest you and interrogate you under religious law. I'm telling you this. It's just the reality.
Harkon, are we dealing with the Department of Faith?
No, it's the Department of Magic. We are the Department of Faith.
Right, yeah. No, not Department of Faith. Department of Magic.
He breathes a sigh of relief. Okay, all right. Then this is potentially... There's something that could be done here.
Okay.
Okay. He grabs one of his law books, he flips to the, basic contract template, and as he sort of mumbles to himself and works through this, he just seems fucking mind blown that something this valuable was resolved in a contract so insanely, like, off the shelf. It's kind of, like, mind-boggling him, because he does way less sums of money than this, and he's writing out, like, lengthy things to try to screw over, other businesses and stuff. And after a little bit, he will lean back and nod and say, all right. So we'd be going up against a great department. If we're talking about something this valuable, everything I said before doesn't apply. We're dealing with a great department legal team. So, I mean, I'll give it to you straight. We're talking 30-70 chance of the defendants being able to retain this. And we're talking, oh god, tens of thousands. We're talking minimum 10,000 gold. If you're lucky, you can make a motion for the Great Department to pay for your fees, but I've only seen that get approved in cases of immense negligence on the part of the Great Department. I mean, my honest recommendation if I'm the defendant, lose the item.
There are multiple items that are in dispute here.
Okay, lose all of the items. If there's multiple for tens of thousands of gold each, the Department of Magic will drown you. There's nothing I can do. You need a legal team as large as theirs, and unless you can afford to hire, last I heard, 15 barristers, this isn't happening. You need clan money. We're talking another great department or a clan or a consul, levels of money to even think about doing this.
What about lengthening our time in possession of the item?
Not gonna happen. Not with the Department of Magic, not with, the item. Again, it's all about the item. If we're talking something tens of thousands of gold, it's not going to happen. They're going to immediately make a motion to the governor of Mythasia to have the items moved into their property while the case is being adjudicated, and then you're going to lose the case. I don't know what to tell you. And if you start to even try to fight them in court, they're going to level you with every single charge that they can think of. They're going to charge you with fraud. They're going to charge you with embezzlement. And I don't know what your professional careers are, but that's going to be on hold until this entire case resolves itself. I mean, if you have the funds, we can start talking about this, but I think for both of us, it's going to be a lot more of a complex business arrangement.
How long would you say... Fuck. It's annoying. At the very least. So let's say there's items 1 through 5.
Okay.
Item 1 has been procured. Defendants don't want to let go of item 1.
Okay.
But items 2 through 5, there's only a chance of the leads plaintiff gave leading to them. Chances that if defendants find another valuable item 2 through 5, would there be a different case made with those? What can we do? What can we bury them with paperwork?
I'm just telling you now. I can do everything. I mean, if you want to pay me money to try this, I will. But what I'm telling you is that they have more lawyers. They have better paid lawyers. They have people who went to a symposium for law. I was a soldier before this, all right? I think I'm pretty good at what I do, but we're talking a great department. I don't know if let's talk about scale of income here, okay? The Great Department of Magic facilitates every single item transaction in the whole empire. Do you know how much money they make in a quarter, much less a year? I could do everything. I could spend the next, 80 hours a week here for the next 3 years fighting the Department of Magic, trying to slow it down as much as possible. They're just gonna call up, the governor, the emperor. It's not happening. Unless you can find some crazy way. That's why I'm telling you, lose it.
Is it possible to renegotiate the contract? We've only found one, maybe.
If you're just dealing with a contractor, you could try, but you need to be very conciliatory because, again, of the item we're talking about here. I mean, if you're trying to change up the terms of the contract, I'd recommend not even going down the legal route. I don't know how well you know this plaintiff, the potential plaintiff that you're involved with, but I'd recommend making a very personal plea to this person because if it comes down to law, unless you got 10,000 gold somewhere, you're not winning.
Potentially more than 10,000 gold.
Yeah.
And that's just for the first item. If we were to somehow gather the second or third.
I mean, hey, you guys are in some crazy stuff right now, but like I said, my recommendation is lose it. I'm going to tell you now, they're going to be coming with you for Zones of Truth. They're going to be doing Detect Thoughts. You're lucky it's not the Department of Faith, because the Department of Magic can't actually detain you, which, saves you all that headache, but I think this is the first time I've ever told a client this, but I recommend you just don't even fight it. Just fulfill the terms of the contract.
Are there other ways that the contract could be interpreted?
Perhaps
All right,
we give her the location.
I'll make this real simple. Okay, so here's the thing. If we were dealing with anything in my wheelhouse, we're talking a shipment of grain, I could tell you, there's a judge here, there's things that I can do. I don't know what exactly we're talking about here that can be worth tens of thousands of gold. But if it's worth that much, the Department of Magic cares much more about it than I ever could. Again, they can talk to governors. If a governor sides against you, it's over. Are we on the same wavelength here? And if you had the ability to talk to governors, you wouldn't be talking to me. So... yeah.
Do you have any... I completely respect your candor and your recommendations. It has forced me to think of this in a new tone of severity. Do you have any recommendations for another barrister that we could speak to that has a little more experience dealing with this kind of law that could give us just a second opinion? I completely will go in expecting it to be the same, but it just could be enlightening to speak to someone that their wheelhouse is...
I mean, his specialty is actually transportation law, but he does a lot of work with antiques and things being sold in auction houses. Those kind of fulfill what we're talking about here. I mean, I could save you a couple gold and just tell you what he's going to tell you.
And what's that?
He's just going to tell you that you don't mess with the Department of Magic.
Okay.
I've only seen one case ever be won against one of the great departments, and it was after the Department of War burned down an entire village, killing 60 inhabitants, and they got charged for negligence because they set the wrong village on fire. That's the only time I've ever seen a great department be held accountable.
Oops.
Listen.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, if you want, I can give you his address. I think he's free this time of year. Most of the auctions tend to happen around the end of the year, but I mean, fulfill the contract, man.
All right. Thank you for your time, for your service.
Yeah. And he'll close his Imperial Law textbook, place it on his shelf. You guys will head back outside. The secretary will bill you 2 gold.
All right, 3 gold, 3 electrum.
Alrighty.
Did you give us the description of the item? I don't see it in handouts. Is it in?
It is in handouts.
It's under magic items, not handouts. But yeah.
Correct.
The thing is, like, let's say the first artifact is just rough because she knows where it is. Like, she had a 99% certainty. The other artifacts, we could theoretically say that there were, like, we did try and dig them up. We really couldn't find them. But
she's
like,
going to zone of if what the barrister just said is true, she's going to have us get zone of truth. And
at the end of the contract, no matter what.
If we don't find any of the items, I think that she's going to want to be sure that we don't find them.
Yeah, like, wait, what? If we don't find one of the items, there are various that she's uncertain.
Right, and she's going to verify after we've gone and tried whether we actually found it or not. I think that.
I don't know if that's true. I feel like it's just really
if they're dealing with 10,000 gold worth of magic items, she's going to. Why wouldn't she?
Because she said herself that she was really uncertain of the location of some of them, which means that there's actually a good chance that we genuinely try to find them.
How much does the Zone of Truth cost, Arcan?
For the Department of Magic, it would be free.
Yeah, so
because they have Arcanists.
So would it be expected that they Zone of Truth us for it?
Because of the... because of the value of this case, yes.
Bought it.
Because, legendary magical artifacts that were thought lost and destroyed.
We don't, does the contract imply that we owe her labor? Like, could she just tell us and we have to go look for it?
No.
Okay.
She just gives you the locations, and if you recover them, then they have to be turned over to her, the Department of Magic.
Gotcha. Or her best bet at the locations, or where to look to find the location.
Yeah, and if you don't find anything, that's not inherently violating the contract. Or if you say, "Hey, we're done with this," she can't enslave you and force you to do it.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering if she gave us the location. We're enslaved to go
contract. No, there are slave contracts, but this is not a slave contract. This is a simple pro bono exchange contract.
Well, I'm gonna look to Renesmee as we're walking out and be like, "So, how attached are you to this?" This dagger?
I mean, his second piece of advice was to just lose the dagger.
It seems like 2 out of 2 options is you can't keep it, according to that lawyer.
Yeah, I might not be able to.
Why do you want to keep it so badly?
Good dagger, strong dagger.
No.
Okay.
Well, and it could be used to help against the Necromortis.
Yeah, it's just really fucking good information.
It fits right in with, her, I think, ideal quest of wiping out the Necromortis.
Yeah, okay,
and would the Department of Magic not use it for that?
Who knows?
Sure, but what else would they use it for other than, killing people?
They could always sell it.
Yeah. That's true. They sold the cowl.
Well, they didn't, but they were just the middleman for that transaction. But they have done things like that in the past.
Do you think that we could negotiate, like, kindly, not legally, that we want to make sure the rest of, like, this item and the rest of the items aren't to be sold. At any point in their lifespan, they are not to be sold. They can be used for information, but not sold.
I don't think that's written in the contract. We could ask.
She was just saying, what Renesmee was saying was like appeal to them on like a personal level, not on a contractual.
I would advise us to not bring the dagger with us. Otherwise, if she finds out we have it right there, it's
for sure.
We've got no leverage. We don't
I'm
really.
not even sure that we want to do leverage either.
There is another path you guys could take. This doesn't result in you guys personally holding the dagger, but it was in a Department of Faith graveyard. It was bequeathed to the Department of Faith. You could always just go back to the Department of Faith and be like, hey, this is your dagger. We're judges of the Department of Faith. Can we have this dagger? You could just say, fuck it, fully betray the Department of Magic, side with the Department of Faith, and start an inter-department rivalry. And then it's like kind of out of your. Is
that what we think's already happened? Who started it? What was the proconsul upset about? Was it just the Department of War?
Civility, War, and Coin, I believe.
Okay, so not the Department of Magic. Yeah.
Fuck it, turn them against all of them.
Oh god.
And again, it is their legal property. You are holding the Department of Faith's property right now.
What did she say? All of them were in the Department of Faith, or just this one?
3 of them, I believe.
3 of the 4, or were there 4 objects?
Yeah, 3 of the 4. Now that doesn't result in you keeping it, but it would
necessarily.
Yeah, if for whatever reason your grudge is against the Department of Magic rather than the Empire as a whole, then you could always just give it to them.
All right, we've got 3 options then, Renesmee.
Yeah.
Well, 4, because so you got just do the quest.
Yeah, we could also just go rogue and leave the Empire and just.
Well, that wasn't 4. I was thinking number 1 is just do the quest. Number 2 is try to lose the dagger. Basically, just like throw it somewhere. I don't know. Say that you lost it and figure out how to do that. 3rd, side with the Department of Faith, and then 4th, appeal to her on like a personal level and be like, "Yo, can we keep this?"
Yeah, I think that all of the above are going to be really hard. Not impossible, just really hard. I don't think that...
The properties of the dagger were never known, were they? Because it went straight from Kalrul to the hero.
Yeah, there was rumors and hearsay, but there was no known fact.
Perhaps you could argue that you know what it does, and it's best in your hands as someone who has the most personal of personal gripes against them.
Mm.
I don't know, I'm trying to help.
I think it'd be like we hire a PI to go into her background, see what makes her tick, what emotionally would appeal to her the best, while using using my true story, which she can corroborate, but also making sure that we are doing thorough research on the person that we are.
So we need to look up more into Umbra, way more into Umbra.
Way more.
Who knows if she's even really Department of Magic, you know? Maybe she was a spy.
Dude.
She's Necromortis.
Holy based.
All of the Department of Magic is Necromortis.
Whoa! We getting crazy with it today.
We'll see what we can do. Man.
Yeah. That was a very defeated man.
Well, I have such an immense character interest, like roleplay interest in having this dagger. At least like having it for a little while to think of questions and stuff. But
get them out now.
Well, I couldn't this session because I'd have to write up a list. But even like just imagining having to like roleplay through having this fucking dagger on me would be so cool. But nonetheless, it doesn't matter unless we can make it work somehow. But that requires some plot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there was also the option of getting tens of thousands of gold, but there's only one person I know with that amount.
2.
Yeah.
I just look at you.
Peleus?
Yes.
You really want me to like him for some reason, or trust him.
I just am giving you the other option that maybe you didn't see at first.
Oh, yeah,
I didn't say we need to follow
6.
this.
Option 5, talk to Tullius. Option 6, have Hetagal eat it.
Well, that was part of the lose it option, by the way.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
there you go. Holy based.
Have Hetagal.
There is no way the actual lose it option and nobody knows where it is was going to be
true.
not resulting in Hetagal eating it.
Yeah, Renesmee would lose her fucking mind.
What if Hetagal eats it and then he also has that guy that we can talk to?
That would be awful. Poor Hetagal. He'd have a
Yeah, that
fucking
would suck for
dwarf
him.
in his head for all of eternity.
Yeah.
That'd be so funny, though. Imagine if, like, the dwarf became, like, a split personality of his.
Oh my gosh.
Schizo
Oh my
Gall.
God, wait. Can we roleplay this out?
It's so gall.
Well, we got a lot
So-
of options. Would you like to take a break and cut to someone else, or would you like to talk?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think our
Yeah.
characters would be deciding right now.
No, certainly
Anyway.
not. You would have many, many days. In fact,
Luckily, we decided to maybe betray her, like, the second that we got hands on it, which was also very prompt, so
yeah.
we've got some time.
Okay, cool. We will cut to Grania. Hi, Dodo.
Yes.
How you doing, buddy?
Just twiddling my thumbs.
Cool. Well, Grania has a second week of long rest. She's been in the capital, and she's pretty alone at the moment. Pacentia dropped in and bounced out almost immediately. She's not really friends with Severus anymore. Renesmee is busy, cooking up this whole dagger thing, and she doesn't want to expand the circle of trust. So you're actually the most alone you've been, oh man, since, like, ever, probably. I think so. Because in probably the most alone you've ever been.
To Pelty to
Yeah.
Essentia, and then that. Yeah.
And then Father Hyperion, and then yeah. So it's really fucking lonely. So what are you doing in your second week?
I messaged you a couple things. I think
you
for
did.
now she'll probably just walk around town and see if any of those opportunities come up that I messaged you about. If not, then she's probably gonna leave the town if it's not too big of a walk.
Yeah. I mean, in regards to the Department of Magic, you can just walk over there if there's a particular thing that you are interested in. I wasn't sure what you'd want to look into in regards to that.
I think let's start with if I see other kids around there, I'll approach them and then go, or watch them and then maybe approach them and go from there. Okay.
Around the Department of Magic?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, going to you technically are a member of Clan Fabricia. Are you wearing your, like, battle mage robes?
I can switch into them, yeah.
You don't have to. I was just clarifying.
I probably should, so I don't stick out as much.
Okay, cool. Then, yes, there are plenty of, teenagers going to and from the Department of Magic. They almost all wear some color robe with a black stripe denoting their rank as apprentice. So there's just a bunch of apprentices, going to and fro. They're not, like, hanging out. They're not talking or whatever. They're sometimes carrying stacks of books. Some of them are walking quickly. Other ones are, like, practicing cantrips in the courtyard of the Department of Magic under instruction. It is a part institution of learning, part massive bureaucratic, nightmare hellscape. Yeah.
What does my robe indicate with my rank?
You are an Imperial battle wizard who is qualified to, fight on the front lines of a war.
Okay. I'm just gonna approach the school then, or the Department of Magic then.
Cool. Yeah, you walk into the atrium of the building. I think buildings in general make you feel a bit claustrophobic compared to the woods of Athelloren, but being in a building this big reminds you of Athelloren because, like in the woods, how things were, insanely big. The mother of groves, or the realm that she ruled over, trees hundreds of feet tall. Walking into the atrium of the Department of Magic gives you that feeling of awe that you first felt when you were exposed to that. Just this massive vaulted roof, glass everywhere, these huge lines of hundreds of people waiting to meet with people, various couches and stage lounges where people sit and wait, or mages speak with people that have come to meet with them. The Great Department of Magic, the headquarters of the Great Department of Magic, is a colossal room, and there's signs denoting like what all these different lines are for and where to go if you're looking for this service or that service to get done. It is a bureaucratic labyrinth.
Okay. She's probably in awe and kind of just like looking around at the moment.
Yeah.
There doesn't seem to be like any sort of like central area or like place I could go to ask questions.
There is a help desk. There are currently about 300 people in line.
Sick.
Jesus.
If Gradia was a different person, she'd flash her judge badge, but no.
You don't even have to. You're an Imperial Battle Wizard. You could just go. You could just do that. But you're right. Gradia would not do such things.
Okay.
I mean, if you're just standing, looking up the ceiling in a bit of awe, I think that a person will approach you. They were previously seated on one of the couches. They wear like light pink robes, like the softest, basically white with like a little bit of pink on it. It's very soft pink robes. You have no idea what that signifies. And they'll walk up and they'll say, "Greetings, madam."
She'll turn to face him surprised and sign hello.
Are you lost?
I guess that doesn't strike to him as he understood her. She'll sign something to him and just let me know if he even knows sign language. And if not, she's gonna.
Well, what are you gonna sign to him?
That's a good question. She'll sign no. I was just curious. Lots of spellcasters. I was hoping to find some like-minded people.
Do you know what room in the building you're supposed to be going to? I could lead you there.
And she signs, no, this is my first time here.
Let's go bring you to the help desk. And he'll begin to walk in the direction of that massive line.
Are we cutting the line, or is he putting me in?
No, he's just walking in the direction of the line. He hasn't made his intention clear. Yeah, you follow him. As you approach, he will lift one of... There's like these wooden, basically, they're like cattle. I don't know if you know, like it's like when you're transferring cattle from one pen to another, you have these very narrow like wooden barricades that you use to do it. It's one of those basically. So he lifts like one of these fence post type things, lifts up one of these out of the way so you can walk through, and you walk past all the other people, and none of them give you any lip or looks because it's clear that you're, a battle wizard. And he leads you to the front desk, and as he approaches, he says, is there anyone on shift at the moment who speaks Imperial Sign Language? And the four assembled people do not, but one of them disappears behind, and you just sort of are standing there for a bit, and the man will look at you and say, well, it's a pleasure to welcome you to the Great Department of Magic, madam. I'm sure they'll find someone momentarily who can speak with you.
Surely.
She'll just sign, thank you.
And he will just sort of hang out and tap his foot, and time will begin to pass as you're just sort of sitting there. And eventually, behind the desk, a door will open, and a person will emerge. They're in like their mid-30s, a woman, and she will approach the counter, and she will look at you, and then she will sign to you in Imperial Sign Language. What do you need?
She'll sign, I don't know if I'm in the right place, but I was hoping to find other magic users and more about magic. Is this not the place to do so?
one of her coworkers looks over, and the woman just sort of shrugs, and you realize this woman is probably deaf, just based on the way that she's interacting with stuff, which is interesting because like you are like if you could speak, she wouldn't be able to understand that. You both need to communicate for sign language, but for very different reasons. Because one of her coworkers like has to tap her on the shoulder for her to hear them, but she'll respond and say something like, "Yes, there are spellcasters in this building, but it's not a social club. It's a place to do paperwork."
Oh, just like, are there places that teach magic?
You're a battle wizard, not an apprentice.
I know. That's not
the person will nod slowly and look at the other person, and it's a communication clusterfuck, because clearly this woman's coworkers do not speak sign language, and they just grabbed the first person they knew that was deaf, and been like, "Hey, talk to this person. We don't know what she wants." And so this coworker can't communicate with her fellow coworkers what you want, and she clearly doesn't know the answer. So she goes back behind the desk and leaves, and says, "I'll be right back." And it's a whole thing. It takes like 25 minutes. You're just sitting there at the counter. The first guy who brought you here is gone. You don't know where you're supposed to be standing. You're starting to get a bit nervous, like, what the fuck is happening here? And then eventually, the woman comes back. There's a second person here now, an older man, and he will walk up and say, "Greetings, Lady Wizard. I wasn't entirely sure based on the translation. My sign language isn't that great. You're here to socialize?"
She'll seem confused by the question at first and then go to sign. Is this not a place where you can learn magic or interact with magic items or talk to other spellcasters?
Yeah, so the deaf clerk will sign to their boss. The boss clearly is not that good at sign language, and they'll say, "Oh, you want scrolls? You'd like to have access to the scroll department?"
Honestly, she just like wants something at this point, so she'll sign sure.
Oh, all right. Well, that can be solved perfectly. He signs to the deaf coworker a very, very simple stuff. The deaf coworker nods. She seems to finally understand. And then the boss leaves. The deaf coworker exits from behind the counter, and she says, "Follow me."
Okay.
So the two of you walk off, and with that, communication hurdle covered, she will lead you down into the deep, dark depths of the great Department of Magic. And by that, I mean she leads you to a, an elevator, which is controlled by ropes pulled by clearly people. And she lowers you down into the scroll repository of the great Department of Magic. Your fellow judges were here, not but a couple of days ago. It is a massive vaulted chamber with a bunch of study halls like carved into the walls, where the massive vaulted chamber itself contains hundreds of thousands of scrolls, most of which are not magical, some of which are though. And as you reach the bottom, the deaf employee, the deaf clerk says, "Not many people here can speak sign language. I'd recommend writing."
She'll nod and just like start pulling out her parchment because she carries that on her.
Yeah, and then the clerk will not step off the elevator, but they seem to be waiting.
Okay. Out of character, you can't learn spells through scrolls in your world, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, you step off the elevator. The clerk is, pulls on one of the ropes, and they begin to travel back up. And you can see dozens of little alcoves, some of which are occupied of various members of the Department of Magic, grabbing heaps of scrolls and then going to go research them. There's also a decimal system for marking the various scrolls, similar to the main atrium of the Department of Magic. It's overwhelming in scale, especially for you. You can read, but that is not a thing that you were born with. That's something you learned after you entered, the real world, as it were, post Pelty. So you've never seen this many texts of any kind in one place. It's probably the biggest library you've seen in your entire life.
Are they still leading me somewhere?
No, the clerk left. The clerk bounced out.
And there's no actual way to read what the fuck any of this means.
I mean, there is a decimal system. It's just you don't know what those numbers mean.
But there's no
yeah.
thing taped up to a shelf or something. It's like, hey, this is how the fuck you read
No,
this.
but there is a booth in the corner with a couple of librarians.
Okay. Damn, there are some spells that I've seen cast that I may want to look into.
Yeah, I mean, you could definitely read spell scrolls if they're written in Mythos, understand how they work, maybe even check a couple out, if you're willing to burn reputation with the permanent magic.
Why would that burn reputation with them?
Well, you're gonna have to. Well, if you're gonna do it on, basically, if you're willing to pay for them, then that wouldn't impact reputation at all. But if you're just saying, hey, I'm trying to use my clout to get a couple scrolls, then yeah, that's gonna increase your clout.
Well, give me a second. Something.
Okay. Well. While Dota's doing that, oh, you're back.
No, go ahead.
While Dota's doing that, Maximus, was there any small stuff you wanted to get done during the week?
Well,
oh, actually, we could do the Renesmee conversation since I'm pretty sure she's not going to get arrested anymore.
Oh, good. Okay, that'd be great. That leads to a bigger.
All right, Renesmee. Timeline-wise, technically it's a week in the future. What we'll be hopping back to. Don't get too hung up on it. It'll be fine. I don't think it's going to matter in the long term. But you are still probably doing all the Artifacts of Calrule stuff. Either way, it's early in the morning. You're at the Department of Faith hotel. You're getting breakfast, preparing for a long day of probably trying to scamaz. What's her name? Umbra.
Yeah.
And Maximus will approach your table.
Maximus?
Oh, hello, Renesmee. I was wondering, how did you go about finding where all those artifacts were when we went out to that dig site to go get them up?
Oh, such a long time ago. I believe that I researched it. I spent several weeks researching. I went to libraries. Why?
Several weeks, you say?
I believe so. Why?
Unfortunate. Well, we made a lot of money.
Yes.
I'd like to do it again.
Ah! Yes.
Yeah, I was just wondering how you figured it out. But if you did weeks of research, I'll just go find someone who's already done the research.
You could, but they're going to want a larger cut.
Okay, it's a large sum of money.
Yeah, sure.
A small cut of a large sum of money is still... Yeah, it's fine.
Go for it.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
Yo, I'm
Walk
gonna go
away.
use the bathroom for a little bit.
Sounds good.
Oh yeah.
Maximus, what's the plan here?
Who knows where these things are?
It's a great question.
Smart people know where these things are.
True. Smart people.
Where do smart people reside?
Oof, that's another good question.
Department of Magic has smart people. Well, at least
That
has
is true.
spellcasters.
They do have spellcasters, yeah. So does the Department of Fate.
We do, don't we?
You do. Arc Cleric,
Okay.
smart though.
Not really, they're just lucky.
Yeah. So I guess it really would just be the Department of Magic.
Okay, what about the symposium? No.
Those
no,
are
not
smart people in training.
Not bureaucratic enough.
Ah, yes, of course.
The bureaucrats are the ones that know where everything are.
Well, presumably, but if they know where it is, then, presumably it's not like if they knew there was a magical item sitting in the middle of a battlefield, they probably would have sent someone to go grab it early.
Sure, but we found a bunch of magical items in that last battlefield, and everyone knew where that one was.
Correct, you did
Right?
do that, and people did not know where it was. that was the whole thing that Peach figured out, which was exactly where it was. The specific bridge had been a piece of major academic debate for a long time.
Oh.
So technically, she made an archaeological discovery and then pilfered it of all of its value.
Shucks. I suppose those who make the archaeological discoveries genuinely tell someone. And then
Yeah, she did a real
Go
Napoleon.
for
When he was in Egypt, he's just sort of like emptied
Oh,
out.
I get it now.
Yeah, pyramids and stuff.
Okay.
I mean, if you're just looking for investments to throw your money at, the Mithdosian Navy would love to get some of your money.
No. That's not what I'm looking to do. Why wouldn't I? It worked so well the last time.
Funnily enough, that was not Maximus. So as far as Maximus
My
is
own,
concerned,
my own character cucked myself.
Yeah, you did do that.
That was horrible.
That was very funny.
All right, we'll wander on down to the Department of Magic.
Alrighty, well, that is very funny because as you walk into the Department of Magic, just timeline-wise, you are looking at the various lines, figuring out where to sit, and you see Grania being led away by a clerk deeper into the Department of Magic. But you will unfortunately not get a chance to catch her up to her because you are not a member of the Department of Magic, so you will have to wait in line. Which of the lines are you waiting in?
Judge badge, question mark?
Nope.
Damn it. It doesn't work here?
I mean, strictly, if you really tried, you probably could order them that they have to let you in, but I mean, no, it's not. They're not gonna like make allowances for that. You did that in whatever city Tarako is, Cisalia. You did that in Tarako when you went to their Department of Magic, but that thing is like tiny. This is like the headquarters of the Department of Magic. They're not gonna make
I
allowances.
suppose if I was on official business, it'd be a bit easier.
Absolutely, yeah, but you're just poking and schmoking.
Okay, well, what are the lines?
Yeah, so there's a general help desk. There is a magical item auction desk. There is a line for Department of Magic members, and then there is a miscellaneous line.
Which, out of the help desk and miscellaneous desk? Which
Help desk is significantly shorter.
Okay, we'll wait in the help desk line.
All right. You walk into the line behind 300 others.
Jesus Christ, how long is the other one?
About 600. And in full plate armor, you start to wait.
I can fall asleep.
And wait. And the person in front of you glances back. He's a man in his mid-40s, maybe early 50s. So, what are you here for?
Well, went on an archaeological dig a while ago.
Oh, that's cool.
Made a bunch of money for it. I wasn't the one who found out where it was, so I figured that the smart folk down here know.
So you're an adventurer then?
Kind of.
That's cool.
In my spare time.
You should write books. I hear those so well.
Write books?
Yeah, about your adventures.
How well?
I mean, I like reading them. They're fun. A lot of my friends read them too.
What kind of adventures?
Oh, I mean, there's that serial comic about what's his name? Good old Levanter. In his adventures in Galadrim. I'm sure you've seen it at the bookstores.
Haven't been to a bookstore in a while.
Oh, well, they're like 60 pages long, short little descriptions of adventure and excitement,
Like killing animals and
no, fighting tribes of demons and boarding pirate ships and defeating. Oh, in the most recent one I read, they went to the cursed jungle and killed a vampire.
Oh.
Yeah.
And you get money if people, like I would get money even if I didn't write the book.
Well, I mean, I guess you just have to tell someone about your adventures.
Huh. That's a good one. And like a lot of money?
I mean, I don't know how much they'll make. But, I mean, it has to be a lot. They're always sold out of them.
How much can you buy a book for?
Oh, I mean, they're not cheap, but since these things are practically paper, they fall apart pretty quickly. I get most of mine for 3 silvers.
a bad way of doing it.
I'm here for a love potion.
Alex, is that an actual thing?
Yeah. And they're incredibly illegal because, I think you can figure it out. It doesn't take, I don't need to explain it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's illegal, right?
What?
Yeah, you can't do that.
What do you...
Here, hold on a moment. I'll pull out my where is it? Yeah, my laws for dummies book.
Yeah, this one's really easy. You go to the sex crimes section and you just flip him.
Yeah,
you just go to the sex crimes page and you show him. By the way, love potions are obviously violating consent. It's like the most obvious thing ever. And he looks at it, he's like,
hey, here you go, right here.
Are you sure?
I'll show him the.
Why are they all in the fairy tales if they're so wrong?
Well, I mean, they kill people in the fairy tales. Do I need to show you where it says you can't kill someone?
Fuck. I guess it's lucky for me that I just got an eye then.
Perhaps
well,
this isn't bad.
Good luck with all your archaeology stuff, I guess.
Oh, thanks. Maybe I can do this like 200 more times, and I'll get to the front of the line faster.
Just convince them that the thing they want is a crime?
No, I'm just hoping that most of the people are here for equally stupid reasons such as this, and I can convince them to just leave the line. I'll tap the shoulder of the person.
Next person. Yeah, she says, "Oh, I'm trying to buy a scroll of lesser restoration."
How much money do you have?
Oh, I'm not paying for it. We're going into debt with our landlord.
Why?
Because my husband's going to die.
Of?
Pneumonia.
Oh, lesser restoration would fix that. Alex, how much are third level spell scrolls?
Hundreds of gold. She will never pay this off. Her children will be debt slaves.
Based.
No, that is not based. It is awful. No. No.
How's my charisma doing? 12? Alright.
Your husband will die. You should leave line.
Leave while you can. I'll give you 50 G to get you going, but you need to run.
Do you have children, ma'am?
She nods solemnly.
Well,
I will take you as my wife.
Sorry, look.
Sorry.
I have to compose myself here before I seriously suggest this.
Yeah.
All right. Surely you know you can't pay this off in your lifetime, even your children's. I'm sure your husband wouldn't want them to go into debt slavery.
Yeah, roll me a persuasion check to convince this emotionally shattered woman that she should let her husband die of pneumonia.
Let's go! No!
She looks very offended and turns around and refuses to talk to you.
Damn it, Jover. Alright, well, I guess I'll wait in the line like a normal chud.
Wow, that was interesting. Yeah. You wait. A vendor has now entered the hall and is offering lunch to people waiting in the line.
Oh, what is he offering?
He is offering you a very common food here. It is pita bread with toppings. The topping he has here is mystery meat and mystery sauce.
I will get 2 with double mystery meat.
Okay, that'll be 8 copper.
Yeah, hold on here. Okay, sounds good.
Okay, you hand over 8 copper. This guy has to be endorsed by the Department of Magic or something because he just goes up and down the line and no one stops him. And you continue to wait. And you wait. We're gonna cut to Grania.
They create the problem when they sell the solution. Shrimple that.
Anyway.
There you go.
Anyway.
Alrighty. Grania, you are in the Great Scroll Repository of the Department of Magic.
I want to start off by asking the Fluttering One if there's anything here that would interest me.
Oh, that is a great point. The Fluttering One, when you entered the Department of Magic, would have unsummoned himself.
Okay. And that means
because there was a ward that made him uninvisible, and that freaked him the fuck out.
Okay. And when he's unsummoned, I can't communicate with him.
Correct, because he's on a different plane of existence.
Okay.
If you want, he could resummon himself, but then the only thing hiding him would be your hair.
Yeah. I want to approach one of the help desks.
Yeah, one of the librarians. They are currently, they have several scrolls like that they're currently flattening out with iron, like weighted irons, and they will glance up as you approach.
She's only going to write very few words on this piece of paper. It's going to say counterspell and healing spells and just hand it.
She will look at it and say, counterspell. Are you looking for, do you want me to walk you to them, or do you just want their numbers?
I hate that she gave him two options. It's just what's the right walk?
I feel like sometimes when we play these campaigns, I just feel like we're learning about, like, especially for Granny, it just feels like we're learning about how much it fucking sucks not to be mute. Like, just basic communication problems that mute people experience.
It's your right walk.
Okay, cool. Then she will walk you, and as you walk, I think that a little thing in your mind will click, only because of Counterspell, which is the number for Counterspell is 3 point... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's 3.11, which means that the first number is likely the circle of magic of the spell, which does help you a lot in terms of like figuring out where to find shit. It doesn't help you in terms of the healing magic though. So she will go to the counterspell section. Each of these, like where a spell is listed, so 3.11, 3.12, there's differing numbers of scrolls in each of these slots. For counterspell, there's only 2 of them. So she will hand one of the counterspell scrolls to you and say, in case you haven't been to the Great Scroll Repository before, these cannot leave the building, nor even head up the lift.
She's gonna write, what do you do with them?
Well, most people study and read them to develop their magical understanding, or copy them to their spell book.
I thought you said you can't copy and spellbook in this one.
Not for warlocks. For wizards, you can.
Oh, I see. Right. Okay, that clicked in her head as something she was trying to go here for anyway, so sure. She'll take the counter spell, and then she'll point back towards the healing spells on her page.
Well, the small problem is there are, dozens upon dozens of healing spells.
She hates that answer. She looks annoyed and she'll scribble down.
All right. Do you want all of them?
She'll nod, yeah.
All right. Okay, follow me. And she will take you over towards one of the research cloisters. She'll grab a little slip off the wall that's hanging on a hook next to the cloister. It's a little green, rectangle of ceramic, and she will put that around your neck, put it over your head. So it's just like a necklace with a green ceramic tile. Then she will gesture towards the booth. All right, sit down, and I'm going to go put all those scrolls in a cart and bring them over.
She'll smile happily and sit down.
And you're just sitting in this booth, and a little while later she will return with a little hand cart filled with about, there's like 40 healing spells maybe, so probably 40 scrolls, and she will gingerly place them on the table. And 2 of the scrolls, they have little like scroll cases that they're contained in, and she'll gently put those on the table, and she'll say, with the ones in the scroll cases, you need to be incredibly careful with them. Incredibly careful. I know you are an Imperial Battle Mage, which is why you're allowed to look at them, but since this is your first time at the repository, I recommend asking for one of us to come over before you open them.
Come on.
All right, thank you.
Are these robes not easily fakeable? Like nobody's verified anything. Not anyone
they
just put
are
these on and walk
technically
in.
fakeable, but it's just it's not that easy.
Okay.
Because yes, you could just fake robes, but the thing is that
kind of
like
crazy. Like if you snuck in something that like looked like a scroll and swapped these out, like what the fuck do they do about it?
you could try that, but
just
again, they
leave
have like detect magics and invisibility wards and glyphs of warding. There's a lot of defenses. That's why I mean the Fluttering One and Pentagal can't enter the Department of Magic. They'll get instantly spotted. Also, no illusions can work, so you'd have to like actually counterfeit the robe.
Is there like out of character if you don't have answers you want to, but can you like lock something to an area, or if it moves something happens? Oh, okay.
There are ways to do that, yeah. Depending on how crazy you want to get with it, you can do almost anything with just a well-used glyph of warding, because you can give it any condition. There's the weird thing about glyphs of warding can actually possess absolute knowledge. Like you can tell the glyph of warding if someone that is hostile to me, the caster, goes within this area, which how the fuck does it know that? But it just does because it's magic. You can give insanely specific like conditionals for targets.
That's terrifying. But I can hold fucking absolute knowledge.
Yeah, I mean, you can say if someone casts a spell within 30 feet of this glyph of warding, that is, you know, and then all the subconditions cast counterspell when they cast a spell. Like, it can get fucking insane. Anyways, you have a bunch of scrolls at your table, including those 2 ones that are in scroll cases.
Okay. She's gonna start with the counterspell and open it up.
Yeah, you read the counterspell. What it gives is these are, so 99% of things you find, scrolls, are written in wizard shorthand. These scrolls here are what you'd call master copies, which obviously Granny doesn't have this terminology, but they're meant to be teaching moments. They're meant to be learned from. So they give in very basic common mythos. You do this thing, then you do this thing. You say these words from your spellbook. You put the spell in your mind doing this. You spend these hours studying. You use this amount of arcane ink, and then you do all these gestures. It gives this incredibly step-by-step process. And upon reading it, you realize you cannot replicate 3/4 of those steps because you don't have a spellbook. And that's also not how you interact with magic. But you could use this.
Grania knows the question.
I think that Grania reads like the 3rd step, and she's like, "That says put it in my spellbook. I can't do that." Or, you know, she reads the 4th line. She's like, "That I don't meditate and spells appear in my mind. That's not how my magic works. I just sort of think and it does."
Okay.
Yeah, I think reading this instructional manual, you realize there is a fundamental gulf between how you do magic and how whoever this scroll is written for does magic.
Yeah, that disappoints her. She's gonna go get one of the people to open up one of the big scrolls because now she's just super curious.
Yeah. You grab one of the librarians, bring it over. They put on large sort of gloves, and they ask you to take a step back. And they pop open the first scroll case. Inside...
They have the decimal on it?
Yes, this one is 8.4.
Sheesh.
Inside is a scroll. This is not an instructional scroll because, you know, wizards, people capable of casting spells at this level, are not writing instructions on how to do it. This is just an actual spell scroll meant to be burned a single time use. And on it, it depicts a massive Chi-Rho, the holy symbol of Aurelian's soul. And it has it looks like a piece of religious artwork and less so like a piece of arcane literature. You have no fucking idea what it does. Just at first glance, you don't know.
But for some reason, it burns the scroll if you use it. It's weird.
Well, that's kind of how scrolls work. You speak the first line of the scroll, and then magically you are able to complete the sentence, and then the scroll burns up.
And
then
is just pictures.
Well, it is just pictures, but those pictures are interpretive. You can understand what they mean if you spend time studying it, but you could.
Okay, weird.
Do you want to roll an Arcana check?
Sure.
Cool. Yeah, you start to look at it, and you look at the librarian, and you just gently place your hand on the scroll, and instantly, you know the word you would need to speak for this scroll to activate. It's like when you're in a car and you want to open up the car door. It's one of those things where you know the word to speak that would instantly unleash the incredible magic of this scroll. It is just one word. You'd say the word heal, and that would instantly activate this scroll. Because it is an 8th level heal spell. Exactly. So she could not use this.
What
Good point. Oh my god.
Could her little guy do it?
Yeah, he could, because that's what he does anyways.
Yeah.
So yeah, Grania.
So Grania recognizes that she needs to speak to be able to use scrolls now,
you have this intrusive thought of
She's
wanting to speak.
She's going to take out a paper and say, I'm gonna
That's
write
so
down,
sad.
how do you cast if you can't speak?
The librarian looks at you and cocks her head. You're an Imperial battle wizard. You can cast spells, right?
She'll sign it's different. Different than this.
I'm afraid I can't answer your question, ma'am. I'm unsure.
She'll seem frustrated, but she'll go ahead and just write down good to put away scroll then.
She will lock up that one and say, would you like to look at the last one?
She'll nod.
It is a 9.6, and within, it is a spell scroll, which at first glance is probably the most complex arcane set of instructions you've ever seen. It is a central arcane glyph, sheltered by dozens and dozens of others, along with religious iconography along the entire rim, encircled by another arcane glyph. Once again, looking at it, you have no idea where you'd even start on understanding what this is actually doing. And then you touch your hand to it, and this time you hear heal. But the thought is, you know that just by saying this word, you would be touching something beyond yourself. This is godly magic, because it is power word heal, a 9th level spell.
I'm genuinely surprised we're even letting me touch this. I'm just a battle mate. I don't think that's high enough to warrant even seeing.
What are you gonna do?
Thing.
Cast the spell?
Yeah,
it's not dangerous for you to have access to it unless you burn it, in which case you're just fucking, punishment accordingly.
What is the punishment for that?
Probably death. That's a 9th level spell, dog. Like, that is so...
Those things don't exist.
Yeah, like, they can only... Yeah, they literally can't be made anymore, so...
Okay, she'll kind of just nod like she's done.
Yeah, she will put it back in the scroll case and breathe a sigh of relief when none of the little fringes of the scroll tear. She will, lock up the scroll case, and she'll say, would you like more time with them, or should I put all the scrolls back to where they came from?
She probably scribbled on her paper quite a bit. She's gonna flip it over and just say, so can't take any?
If there's ones that you'd like to check out, we could bring down an Arcanist to have a discussion with you.
She'll nod.
All right.
She'll point to its counterspell one.
I'll be right back. And she leaves for a little bit. And when she comes back, a woman in green robes with sort of dark black hair is accompanying her. The woman sits down in the booth across from you. She's mid-40s. Kind of reminds you of when you first met Peachachoo. Not now, because obviously she's a lot older, but when you first met Peachachoo, she looked a bit like this. And the woman will say, hello, I'm Arcanist Umbra. The librarian here said that you were interested in checking out a scroll.
She'll nod. And point
All
to
right.
the counterspell.
Which one?
She'll grab the counterspell one.
Ah, all right. The librarian called me over because she had a point of concern. Can you speak?
She'll shake her head no.
How do you cast spells?
She will. Wait. We've had this come up once, and I don't think we ever actually played it out. What happens if Granny tries to cast a spell right now? She's going to try to cast Prestidigitation and make a little illusion.
Nothing happens.
She's going to seem confused. She'll just write down it just works when I think it.
All right then. Well, it seems like you're more new here, since you seem a bit overwhelmed by all this. If you'd like to check out that scroll, it could be done, but there's going to be a lot of paperwork involved. You'd have to leave that down here for now. We could go to my archival chamber. We'd have to fill out a lot of forms and such. Do you have a superior that could vouch for you in taking out this document? Is it necessary for your work here in the department?
She doesn't fully understand the sentence, so she'll just slowly nod.
All right then. Well, let's just leave that there and take that green necklace you have, the ceramic piece, place it on the table, and we can head up to my chambers.
Yep, she'll do that, and she'll just fall behind her.
Yeah, you head up back to the elevator. The rope is pulled up. You head through a labyrinth of corridors to a sort of very dingy and messy room, and she will take out 4 separate legal forms that you have to fill out. First one is, my name is blah, 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 sign the document. Second one is, I have a rightful reason to acquire this scroll, sign the document. Third one is, my superior, and then there's a blank spot.
I don't think she would write the Lars, so she's going to put down Pacentia.
Okay, you write down Pacentia's full name, which I don't have at the moment, but I know she has one. There you go.
It is Pacentia Blandia Manius Fabricia Lucretian.
Yeah, you write that down, then you give a signature, and the final one is the specific scroll that you want to check out, and how this is going to impact your record. The second part is for not for you to fill out, it's for Umbra to fill out. So the first thing is you just write out, I want counterspell, please, and then smile. And then Umbra will fill out that you will get one of these for the entire year. This is your only scroll that will be allotted to you for the entire year, and it will also impact your superior's ability to draw scrolls from the Department of Magic without compensation.
Okay.
But you just, hey, you're vibing. You're not paying attention when she writes out this, lengthy paragraph.
What scroll does how me get scroll?
Yeah, how me want scroll, me write smiley face, me sign. And so she will write out that paragraph. She'll, give you a copy of each of the forms, which you have no fucking idea what to do with. And then she will give you a receipt. And she says, if you go back down to the scroll repository, you can hand this to one of the librarians, and they should furnish you with a non-teaching counterspell.
She'll nod.
I know, Arcanist Pacentia. I've met her a couple of times. Do you like her?
After hearing the name, she went to go sign a couple things, saying oh, you know her, where do you know her from, and a couple things like that, just rattling them off, and then realizes that the person probably doesn't understand.
Yeah, she's
writing
blinking.
Down. Oh, she'll write down yes, very much so.
That was always my impression of her. I've never gotten to work with her extensively, but a couple research assistants that have worked with me said that she was a wonderful teacher. What type of... I guess this will be hard to communicate, but what type of work are you doing with her that you need the counterspell for?
She's gonna write down the word judge.
Judge?
She'll nod.
All right, well, either way, you can use that receipt down in the scroll repository.
She will smile and go to shake her hand.
She'll shake it back.
And even though she can't understand it, she'll sign thank you, and then go to the desk below.
You walk downstairs to the scroll repository. You recover the item that you want. You now have a scroll of counterspell. You head back up to the through the lift back into the hall. You walk into the grand atrium, just not really sure where to go next, just wandering a bit, and you see Maximus is about 150 people away from the front of the line.
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ.
He looks like he's going to die of boredom.
I think after the most recent stuff, Courtney is probably a little bit more, less apprehensive, so she's gonna approach him, and just write on a piece of paper, help, ? Or need help, I guess is better.
Well, Maximus, need help?
If you can get me to the front of this line, I would greatly appreciate it.
She'll sign, they just let me walk in.
Well, yes, you're a member. I sort of imagined they would. I am not so lucky.
She'll motion for you to follow and walk towards the front.
Oh, fucking sick!
Yeah, the people in front of and behind Maximus get fucking death stares. Not at you, Grania, but at Maximus, because that motherfucker is cutting line. But Imperial Battle Wizard moment, and you approach the front counter. There's a person currently talking. You wait until they're done. They go off to meet with an Arcanist to discuss getting a magical collar installed in their cat. and then you guys head to the front of the line. And the clerk here looks up. She first looks at Grania and says, "Hello. Oh, you're the one from earlier. How can I help you, Lady Arcanist?"
She'll nod and then she'll motion to Maximus.
The clerk looks at you, Maximus.
Hello. I'm wondering if there's like a research department, some kind.
Of course there is. Yes.
Could you point me the way there?
Sure. Yeah, it's pretty late in the day. I don't think you'll be able to get a meeting today.
At least I'll know for tomorrow then.
Fair enough. And she gives you a series of instructions that is 9 points long. You know, it's a lengthy series of instructions about how to get there. Luckily, most of the doors are going to be closed, so you basically just follow the hallway and staircases, and you won't get lost. And that will bring you to the research wing of the Great Department of Magic.
Cool. I'll go there anyway, just to see what happens.
Cool. Grania, what are you doing?
On the way there,
Maximus?
yes, and Grania's going to write on the paper, what's this for?
Was Grania around the last time when we went to go to that bridge to uncover those artifacts?
I don't believe she was. She existed like in the world, and she wasn't in the party. I believe. I just don't think she went on that expedition.
Oh, you remember when a few of us? You remember when a few of us went to that bridge to find all those artifacts that we uncovered?
She'll shake her head no.
Oh, well, we did that, and I'm trying to do that again. It was very profitable. And, well, I don't know where things like that are, so I sort of imagined someone around here.
You're right, what did you find?
Oh, fuck. Several hundred gold worth of miscellaneous magical artifacts. Like stuff we all sold to the Department of Magic.
She seems very interested by this. She'll kind of like motion to like keep talking or say more.
Oh yeah, no, I don't know where to find things like that. So I need to consult someone here who, you know, is not inclined to go out and get the things themselves.
She'll nod. She'll seem satisfied and just keep following.
Yeah, you guys reach the research wing, which is it's gorgeous. I mean, like each wing of the building uses its own architecture. The research wing uses glass as its central motif. Like, basically, in pre-medieval societies, glass was rarely used because it was very thick church glass. It wasn't very pretty. You don't get, like, modern, you know, skyscraper-type glass. But with magic and fabricate spells and things like that, if you're willing to burn, you know, thousands of spell castings, you can make some incredible things. And they have done that. They've made almost every surface that can be made of glass reasonably, like walls and such, out of glass. The ceiling is made of curved glass. Type of thinness of glasses and forms of glass that could never be made by glass blowing or being made by fabricate spells. It's incredible. The way the light plays through even the evening light plays through the glass is just otherworldly. And then there is the central, you know, sort of centerpiece of the entire room, which is a bureaucrat sitting behind a desk.
Classic.
Welcome to Mithdosica.
Yep. All right, I'll walk up to the bureaucrat.
The person in question is a younger man, maybe early 20s. He has the apprentice robes. Grania would recognize it's not you, Maximus, and he'll say, "Hello?
Hi there. I'm looking for... What am I looking for? All right. Here's what happened last time. All right. One of my friends did a bunch of research, found an old archaeological site. We went out there, we excavated it, digged up a bunch of magical artifacts. We came back here and sold them.
All right.
Is there someone around here who knows where sites like that are? Because I don't want to do the research that took.
Are you an imperial judge?
Why?
What? I mean, there is someone in the department who's been looking around for people, but she's really only interested in judges.
Oh, yeah, I am.
Oh, all right. Do you have your badge?
Yeah, I do. I'll pull it out.
And is this young woman with you? Is she another judge?
Yes, she's a judge as well.
Ma'am, do you have your badge?
Yeah, I don't think she would have left it. So yeah, she'll pull it
out. All right. Well, actually, I think she's at her office right now. I could just walk you on over.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah,
Perfect.
Grania, you start to go through some very familiar corridors. You were here like 20 minutes ago. And, you know, as you arrive at the door, you recognize this is the office of Arcanist Umbra. And the clerk will open up the door and walk inside and sort of muffled talking, and then it will open up the door and say, she'll be more than happy to meet with you. And the two of you step inside the very cramped office, and you see Arcanist Umbra behind the desk. The Umbra seems a bit surprised to see you, Grania, and says, "Oh, I didn't know you were an Imperial Judge."
She'll write on the paper, you didn't ask.
Fair enough, I guess. I assume you can talk.
Yes, I can.
Well, wonderful. I assume the clerk indicated that you were interested in a job to recover some artifacts.
Yes, it was a very profitable venture last time.
Well, I don't know if this will be as profitable as your previous expedition. I think we actually know the same person, Judge Renesmee?
Yes.
Yes, I read about her expedition. It was quite a big deal. I mean, she found the site of the Colovian Bridge battle.
Oh, yes, I was there. I helped her.
Really? Wow.
Yes.
Did she ever mention anything to you about the artifacts of Karul?
Maybe, but not that I remember.
Interesting.
I didn't pay much attention. All I knew was that they were worth a lot of money. But that was about it.
Fair enough. Well, you could actually do me a huge favor.
Well, of course.
Now you wouldn't be making hundreds of gold, because I can't afford that, but I could pay you a couple of dozen of gold to do a job for me. It would involve recovering some items.
And is it gonna take a while?
I doubt it.
Oh.
It should just be a piece of paperwork.
Several dozen gold for a piece of paperwork?
I think around 50 gold.
Yeah, I can definitely do that.
Wonderful. Well, it's a pretty simple task. I don't need to bore you with the specifics too much, but in the city of Parla, there is a man named Marcus Agrippa Lucius. He died a couple...
All right, hold. Do you have some paper?
She nods and hands you a parchment and a piece of ink.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. Parla...
Marcus Agrippa Lucius?
Alex, does that name sound familiar?
I don't think it would to Maximus. Actually, no, it may, because he was a soldier. Roll an int check. Because this guy is a very, very famous soldier, so there's actually a really good chance that you would. Yeah. Marcus Agrippa Lucius is legendary, because he is a normal legionnaire, just totally normal soldier. And then, during the... You don't even know what war it was, to be completely honest. But during a war against the Necromortis, he killed a high necromancer in a 1v1. And since that day, he's been a legend, because he's just a normal soldier before that. He wasn't some hero or some adventurer.
Yeah, I have heard of that guy, yeah.
The Umbra will nod and say, yes, well, he was put to rest in the Church of the Flaming Sepulchre in Parla. And I believe that he may have an item on him that I'd be interested in. So if you could go to the church and then inquire with the Archimandrite there if you could exhume his body and recover his necklace, that would be greatly appreciated. That is what the 50 gold would be for, if you're able to return his necklace to me.
All right, did the church have a name?
The Church of the Flaming Sepulchre.
Oh, yeah, that's okay.
Grano read on a piece of paper, what does the necklace do?
The necklace is an object of historical significance.
She'll write no magic?
Yeah, magical.
I don't think that if you cast Detect Magic, it'll yield anything.
You'll seem disappointed.
Why'd you phrase it like that?
I'm sorry?
Well, you said if you cast Detect, you think if you cast Detect Magic, you won't find anything.
I think if he had anything magical on him, the Department of Faith long since would have recovered it.
That's fair. Okay, 50 gold to go to Parla, get this for you, and come back.
Exactly. Should be like, I can't do it because I'm not a member of the Department of Faith. The Archimandrite would laugh me out of the building, but for Imperial judges.
Oh. Okay. Sure, why not?
Wonderful. Well, I'll pay you 50 gold upon the return of the item.
I mean, this is bureaucracy. Can I just get that in writing?
If you wish. And she will go, and, despite her, sort of playful reluctance, she definitely had this already pre-written. She just reaches under her desk, pulls out a contract. It lists in no uncertain terms that she will give you a sum of 50 gold upon the return of the necklace of Marcus Agrippa Lucius from the Church of the Flaming Sepulchre. And then, she signs her name. She leaves a room for you to sign.
Does this say I'm obligated to give it to her if I find it, or simply if I give it to her, she will give me 50 gold for it?
She is giving you the location in return for you giving her the item and 50 gold.
Okay, I see.
What was that, Peach?
Yeah, right.
Question. How does this work if, they're working in the future, but we're working in the past?
It'll be resolved very easily. I wouldn't worry about it too much.
Okay. Because if we wanted to go and, for example, use legend lore...
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about it, trust me. It'll work out.
Or just tells you Maximus has it. That would be so funny.
That would be very funny. Okay, cool. Well, as the two of you, as Grania and Maximus both signed their John Hancocks onto the document, and the two of you head off to go do your own side quest, we're going to cut backwards in time about a week to Zednius and Renesmee.
Yes. Hello.
So we, in our time, were figuring out what to do with this item.
Yeah. I think that we have to do a personal plea, but before we even do the personal plea, I want to spend a couple of days in my hotel room with this dagger, a stack of paper, and a fuck ton of ink and quills. Probably Zednius there too. Not leaving the fucking room, just with snacks on board. And I'm not even done writing this list of questions, Harkon. I'm so sorry, but I want to have, I want it to be so in depth.
Yeah,
I want to know.
I mean, hey, we can just start talking that through with you. We can just talk about it. What are we thinking? You can talk it through with Yogi as well. I'm sure Yogi can contribute to the questions
we've been DMing.
Oh, perfect.
I just
awesome.
DM'd
I'm
you.
glad you've been doing that. Yeah, cool. Oh, you DM me. Okay, cool. Do we want to start going through this list?
Yeah, this is not the full list. This is just
Okay, so when you said several days, you meant several days.
Yeah, I don't think that you can really play this through on stream because this is actually
it is a lot of questions. This is true. I think we're going to probably at some point answer all of these because I want it to be out there.
What I'm hoping to get here is
this is a
if
lot
this
of questions.
dagger ever gets removed from me, I want you to give me
actually,
a necromortis
this is actually
proficiency.
this is super shrimple. What we can do here is okay, I'm thinking. You're spending several days doing this, so you're basically just ghosting Umbra for these days, right?
Well, I'm going to be in this room and I'm going to be doing this.
Okay, yeah, you and Zednius are ghosting Umbra and doing these questions, right?
It depends. Zednius can leave and go and come.
Yeah, I'm there for at least part of it because I've given a lot of questions as well.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So the main reason I'm asking this is because if you guys are just there several days ghosting Umbra, then this is actually perfect because we can just cut right back to Maximus and Grania while they go do their side quests because the timeline will work out perfectly. So unless it sounds like you're just in this room for a couple of days.
That works even better.
They were a week ahead.
They were technically a week ahead, but it didn't happen. The reason they were a week ahead is because we were doing week-long chunks. They could have gone to the Department of Magic day one of their long rests. There's no reason why it had to be on the 7th day. So technically it could have been 1 day apart.
I guess, but I think that the timeline is really important.
I think it works out fine. If you guys spend several days in the, you guys spend 3 days inside of that thing, then it works out perfectly. My question is are you going to talk to Umbra in those 3 days? Because if not, we can.
No, I'm not going to, but I don't know what Zednius would do.
Yeah,
if he would talk to Maximus, if he would talk to Grania,
Zednius,
if he would hear about their...
Are you talking to Umbra in the next 3 days?
I am leaving all of the dagger decisions up to Renesmee because this is like trying to help her, build that trust back up.
Yeah, it sounds like we're not talking to Umbra in the next 3 days then.
It might not, no, but Harkon, it might not include talking to Umbra, but for example, if we talk to Maximus or Grania, then
well, they're not going to be in the city. They're going to be bounced out.
I know, but we could have talked to them before on the day
then do you
of
want to talk to them?
this.
Do you want to talk to them?
Alex, it's irrelevant because the moment I get this information, I'm going to them anyway.
Okay. Thank you, Ethan. That's very funny. Okay, so this is actually perfect. This is so good. So it's going to be June 4th of 1280. That's so funny. So
are we all caught up now?
Yeah, wait, it's perfect. So
sure.
Yeah, you, Zednius, and Renesmee have spent 2 days so far feverishly asking questions, recording the answers. They're writing tomes and tomes. They are sucking this dagger dry of every juicy drop of information it can provide. They are getting the, as Renesmee said, a necromortis proficiency.
Nice.
But as you guys are doing this, presumably fueled by coffee and whatever other stimulants you can find, because you have a limited amount of time with this dagger, you guys hear perhaps the spookiest thing you could hear while hiding a potentially, stolen artifact, which is a knock at the door.
Where would Het Hagal be at this time?
Where would what be?
Would he just be in the room with us?
Where? Who?
Het Hagal.
Het Hagal would just be on your shoulder, yeah.
Okay. And he can't squeeze under the door to find out who
Not
it is.
anymore.
I'm surprised you're not making me roll for insanity, Harkon.
Oh, we'll get there.
Oh no.
Also, I just need to provide quick context. Chowder, this list of questions that Peach sent me is like, each bullet point is like 3 to 4 sentences, and there's so far 25 of them.
Oh my god.
There's more.
Oh yeah, I know there is. I'm just saying what we're at so far. Anyways, so you guys hear a knock at the door as you're on day 2 of this feverish, interrogation.
And we hear a knock at the door?
Yep.
Hold on. Let me look at
now. Het Hagal can just climb out the window and then move out towards the hallway and then look.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, he can
then that's what he needs. That's what I need to do.
Yeah, he will do that.
He can also fly.
Oh yeah, also yeah. So you can just So you can look through his eyes and you can see Maximus in plate armor and Grania just sort of following behind him.
Oh, it's just Maximus and Grania.
I was probably clenching the dagger with eyes wide open, sweating.
What do we do with? Do we hide this? Do we leave it? What do we do? They're gonna ask.
Yeah. Okay.
You guys hear another knock.
Meet them. Coming. Let's talk to them in. Where's your room? Where's your room here?
Fuck, you're lucky.
Where is my room?
It's across the hall.
Wait,
okay.
Do you know how this looks, Zednius?
No, okay. Trust me. I'm gonna grab your arm and just trust me. Okay.
Whose room is this?
We're leaving Renesmee's room and we're going to my room with Dimension Door.
Okay, you teleport across the hall with Dimension Door.
Okay, wait, and we leave Zednius' room together to see them, to talk to them.
Presumably.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh,
yeah.
that's not what I thought you. Oh, well.
No, I meant, do you know how this looks? That
this is going to
Zednius. Oh. What I was saying was, do you know how this looks? That they're knocking on my door again and again, and then we both open the door, disheveled, looking sweaty,
I'm gonna
together.
I'm gonna give a concerned look to Granny.
Yeah, you're hearing muffled voices from now the opposite side of the hall, from Zednius' bedroom.
Figure out a way to get back to your room.
What do you mean? I just put the dagger behind me and I open the door. Hello?
Okay, well.
So, Maximus, I want to talk about this only from your perspective. You knocked at this door. You and Grania, Grania just following behind you like she's your daughter or something, just shambling behind you. You knock at the door. You hear nothing. You knock again. You hear coming from inside the room. Then you hear nothing. Then the door behind you on the opposite side of the hall, because you clearly heard Renesmee's voice. Then the door from the opposite side of the hall opens, and you see Renesmee, bloodshot eyes. Her clothing is kind of in a little bit in shambles. Her hair is all fucked up. She has looks like she's fucking seeing the stars beyond stars. Like she's gone fucking full schizo. Zednius, not that different. Similarly fucked up. And then again, they're on the opposite side of the hall where you heard their voices from.
Hey, what's up?
I'm gonna whip. Fuck. I'll look back at her door. What? What just? I heard your voice.
Yep.
In there.
What's up?
I'm just gonna be fixing my hair.
I'm gonna look around her back.
We've been sleeping with each other for 3 days straight. Come on, get to it.
Anyway,
what's going on?
Yeah, I just came from Arcanist Umbra's office.
Oh.
Oh.
What did she want? It looks nervous and sweaty.
Well, I don't imagine that's any different from basically how you're looking
Yeah,
anyhow.
true.
So that's
so true.
That's not a huge thing. Yeah, I was inquiring after, remember the last time we went to dig up that site, made a bunch of money from it. I was trying to do that again. And I eventually wound up in her office saying she knew the location of a bunch of artifacts. And she said you had actually been there already. So, well, first off, I feel a bit left out.
Renia will sign, and she gave me a scroll and pull out the counterspell scroll to show.
Oh.
I don't know where she got that.
Grania side quest pog.
She didn't get that from Umbra. But I don't know where she got that.
And what did she ask you?
She said no. She said you were already aware of it, and she said you had basically come to her for the same thing.
Yes, she asked us to locate an artifact for her, which we are in the process of doing.
Okay. We can work together.
Sure.
Did she have you sign the contract?
Yeah, but it was just to run to Parla and grab a necklace of one of my, honestly, personal heroes. So I think it'd be pretty cool to go out there. Marcus Agrippa Lucius. Get a necklace from his body.
While he's talking, have you ever seen anyone panically look for someone else's hand behind them to hold it to be
Yes.
That's what I know. The second while he's doing that, I'm panically trying to grab Zenius because I'm oh my god, it's another one. Yes.
These people have lost their mind, Maximus.
Yes, well,
she just wants you to get it and give it back to her?
Yeah, she's paying me 50 gold to go to Parla, unearth a grave, and come back. I think it was a pretty... it's not as much gold as I was hoping for, but it's pretty good deal for what I'm doing.
Can we see the contract? The copy of the contract that she gave you?
Okay.
I grab it from his hand and I read it over with Sednius and I.
Would you like the exact language?
Sure, but
yeah.
All right, let me pull it up.
Did she?
Is the Gaia guy? Was he one of the Shield of Calvenzas?
I don't know what you just said. Who's the Gaia
guy? Was the guy who has the Gaius, whatever the guy we're looking
Marcus
for? Marcus Agrippa Lucius? Yeah.
Yeah, he's a member of the Shield.
Okay, so we think that's one of the items. Okay, I didn't know if it was a separate quest. Okay, I'm starting to piece it together. Okay.
What is happening here? What is going on?
These items are powerful, Maximus, and
she said it wasn't.
She's
lied.
She said it was just a great historical value.
Well,
that's true.
we think it. We think maybe it came from Calrul.
The necromancer.
You see he makes the chameleon face again. The confused chameleon.
Come in.
Can you say that name?
Yep,
we need everyone in my room.
Okay, Grania gets dragged into this as well.
Grania will actively resist going into him.
Damn.
Grania,
I'm pulling Maximus. Renesmee, you gotta handle her.
If she doesn't want to come
I'm not gonna
force her.
I'm not gonna force her to come in, but I'm going to invite her in myself and assure her that I'm okay. But if she wants to go to my room instead, I can talk to her in my room and you can catch Maximus out.
Are you sure?
Trust you. She'll hesitantly walk into the room and just stay near the door.
Okay.
We got to close the door, and then these are legendary objects. I don't want to. Do we really want to give these away for 50 gold?
Well, I didn't know it was worth 50 gold, or I didn't know it was magical. What?
These might be the most magical items I've ever seen.
What makes you wait?
Ever heard of?
You
They belong to
no,
Kavrul.
no.
They belong to Kavrul.
He said seen one. He said these are the most magical items I've ever seen.
Yes, we've seen
You all
drawings
have
of them.
one, don't you?
No, we've seen drawings of them.
Hold on, I'm gonna.
That sounds like an insight check to me.
I'm just gonna insight check you on that one. That's like ideal scenario for an insight check.
Let's get a deception check from Renesmee. I almost want to argue disadvantage, but we'll see.
No, not disadvantage.
We'll see.
Okay,
Am I
sorry,
helping her
it's
on
just
this?
lagging.
Nope.
For regular?
Because she's the one that spoke.
Well, I'm the one that said ever seen.
That is true. So,
He said
yeah, I
ever
guess-
seen, and then she said
That's
ever
true.
heard of. Okay, yeah, that seems about right.
Another bead of
No,
sweat
you all
rolls
have
down
one.
my.
You all have one, don't you?
Keep your voice down. Shh.
Of course
Oh
not.
my god, dude.
No,
Maximus.
you are lying, Renesmee, and he just said you have one. Where is it? What is it? Well,
Renesmee just looks like she's seen a ghost. I don't know. She can't talk. She's been talking to a fucking, I don't know, a dwarven blade for the past like 72 hours.
Yeah, he's just been screaming
non-stop.
at you in Dwarvish.
She's delirious. Yeah.
you're broken.
Granny is gonna approach Renesmee and look at her and sign.
Well, as you approach, so
Okay.
Renesmee's been looking at Maximus this whole time, containing a Dwarvish dagger behind her back. So they're in the center of the room. You're off at the door. So as you walk over to Renesmee, to go like, sign to something, get her attention, you notice, holding up against her back, because that's how she chose to conceal it. There's just a very incredibly intricate copper dagger there. But continue.
She'll stop for a moment.
I
look at it, and then
imagine
continue moving towards her.
that I put it like tucked in my pants with my cloak over it. However, you can argue that she would have seen like the bulge of something under my cloak.
Sure. Either way, I think it'd be pretty noticeable a whole ass, dagger
Yeah.
being there.
Yeah, she does notice it. She'll like stop for a second while walking over, and then continue to walk over.
Cool.
Renesmee, psycho mode, stabs you in the neck.
Seeing Renesmee,
I need blood.
seeing Renesmee in her state, she's gonna say or sign stand still for a second, and then I'm gonna cast Calm Motion on her.
Wow.
Oh,
Well, question, Renesmee. You feel
Yeah.
a calming effect overtake you. Do you resist it? Who knows what sort of magic this is?
God, you have a spell save DC of 18? God,
Pretty good.
Yep.
damn.
Because
Oh.
the thing is, it's not like Granny has said, by the way, I'm about to cast a spell on you that's going to calm your emotions. You just feel your entire frazzled state starting to calm down. I don't know whether Renesmee thinks that's a good thing or not.
Yeah, it's a charm spell.
It literally is a charm spell, yeah.
Does that mean?
I
yeah.
feel so bad rejecting it, but because I think in any other situation, if Renesmee was like crying over something,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden she felt that, it would be like a calming thing. But for this, she's probably just spent 72 hours in fucking mind prison with this thing, telling her all the fucked up things. It seemed like some of the like questions I'm asking is like, how did they torture you? Tell me in explicit detail the worst things that you've seen them do.
Yeah.
What's the forms of torture they've done on other people? How do they kill other people? What's the easiest way? What's the hardest way? What are the curses, etc. So
Jesus.
I think that she's going to feel it, and she's going to feel like she's being drugged against her will, and she's going to resist it and sign at her. What are you doing?
Well, charisma save at advantage because maybe it works. Yeah, maybe it works even with you attempting to resist it.
Is it an advantage?
I
She
imagine
does have advantage, yes.
Half elf, yeah.
I imagine this hits the rest of us too.
Right.
It does impact the rest of you as well, but I think for Maximus, you're in a much more normal head state, and you can tell you felt what it's like. Actually, wait. Yeah, you have by the one of the bards, I think, charmed you fully. So yeah, you felt what it's been like to be fully charmed before. This is not a full like mind control spell, so you can reasonably.
Do I have to make a save too? Am I within 20?
Do you want to resist it?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay, great. Make it. Maximus, would you like to resist?
I do trust Grant.
Yeah, I'll try anyway.
All right, fuck it. Everyone's resisting.
Oh, dude, I'm the only one I know.
So just to describe it real quick,
Oh, that's awesome.
Grania,
It's actually good for you guys that Max is the only one that got caught.
Yeah, Grania, you do a hand gesture. The fluttering one is in your hair now, and he speaks the final words of the spell, and it comes into fruition. And Renesmee, you freak out, and instantly you feel this, dampening emotion stop. Same with you, Zednius. But Maximus, you feel, to be clear, it's not like you're not suspicious anymore. It's not like any of your logic changes. The whole situation is a lot more calm. It feels less high stakes. Powerful magical item, whatever. Betraying the Empire, still bad, but not like I'm going to murder you. More just like I'll be very, disgruntled. So just think about that when you're going through this. But
right.
Renesmee reasonably just said,
And
"What
now,
the fuck?"
Note, Alex, that lasts for 1 minute.
Correct, not that long, yeah. So I will put it.
Also, do I know that it
Alright,
fails on?
Yes.
The people failed on.
Alright.
She's gonna sign very angrily. I was trying to help you.
Woman.
What did you try to do to us?
Stop.
What was that?
What was it? I'll put my hands over my chest and my heart. Be like, sorry, you scared me. I wasn't expecting that.
Wait, both of your hands? She said hands, Alex.
Sure, she did.
I
The
know,
dagger-
it's
the dagger
not in
falls.
my
Accidentally-
hand.
So-
Yeah, it's like tucked into the back of her waist. I think.
Yeah.
All right.
She'll sign. It's a calm emotion spell. You guys seemed very upset.
All right.
Oh, and I'll
Oh,
repeat,
I
like genuinely,
do feel
like,
better.
I'm sorry. Well, you don't know how to read sign language, Maximus.
Sag.
Oh, that's good.
What did she do to us?
She
What is
did
she trying?
No,
She did
no.
something
She tried to cast calm emotions.
To trick
I
us?
Oh,
No.
There's
Oh
no-
God, no.
I do feel
Zenius,
calm.
it's Grania. No, I just didn't know what was happening. I'm sorry, Grania. If I had known,
And the
I just
spell
didn't-
ends.
yeah.
Oh. Fuck! Where the fuck is it? I know one of you two have it. Whatever the
You're
fuck
Grania
it
will
is.
sign
so.
to Renesmee, saying that was very rude of Zednius to assume.
And I'll sign back. I'm sorry. He
I'm gonna
doesn't
start looking around the room.
know
Alex.
you.
Roll
Like-
perception check.
We know you.
She's still gonna seem upset.
I don't like people
She'll go back
casting
to the door.
spells on me like that. Why would
Sorry,
she
what-
do that?
What did Grania say?
She'll just head back to the door and where she was before. She's just gonna peek at the backside of Peach as she's walking back to her spot and see if the dagger's still there.
Yeah,
of
I'm
course
going
it
to
is.
sign at Grania. Maximus is right, but I don't want to tell him. I'll explain later.
Well, Maximus, well, two things. One, with your perception check, you can tell that no one has been in this room for several days. That's much is pretty obvious. You don't know where Zednius just hasn't been in here.
Yeah,
He
I
must have
heard the
been-
voices. Yeah, I heard the voices on the other side of the fucking hallway.
Yeah, and also
Right.
this bed, it hasn't been used. The room is all clean. It smells normal, unlike those two who smell like fucking cave, people who have been sitting in a room for 2 fucking days. And as for you also notice, I don't think, obviously Maximus is not proficient with Imperial Sign Language, but he has been with Grania since she joined the party, the entire time, basically. So I do think you recognize your own name that much, because Grania,
Okay. Yeah, that's
that's
fair.
it. So All you know is that Renesmee signs your name. You get no context. I'm not even going to pretend he can understand any of that shit. That's way too fucking complicated. But you do recognize, because the way you do names in sign languages, you spell them out. So you can clearly tell, M-A-X, all that stuff.
What are you saying? This is it, Renesmee.
I'm saying that it only hit you. The spell that I said no to.
I'm going to do a perception check on the two of them.
You're doing a lot of checks.
Are you like walking in a circle around them?
Yes. Yeah, I will.
Okay, sure. I mean, fuck it.
I'm going to back up as he walks towards me and say, Maximus, do not take another step towards me. I'm feeling very threatened.
I'm not.
What are you doing?
It doesn't matter. I'm feeling threatened.
I know you all have it
somewhere.
Space. I know you all have it somewhere, and I know you wouldn't have left it over there. And I'll point across the hallway because you two obviously haven't been in here the whole time. It means it's on one of you.
Maximus, I don't know why you have such an interest in this, but I highly suggest that you don't come into my personal space because I feel highly threatened by your attitude and behavior right now.
All right. I'll back up a couple steps. But if these items really are as powerful as you say they are, that means they're extremely valuable. Extremely.
The problem is, Maximus, that these items cannot be used for their value because they are also highly cursed. They are awful, awful abominations. And at most, they should be studied, gleaned for their information, and then put into safe hands. Destroyed. And never... Yeah, destroyed, genuinely.
Even a better reason to give them to the Department of Magic!
No, the Department of Magic would weaponize them for war.
I'm going to go ahead and say that if the Great Department of Magic thinks that they are not cursed, that they're, safe enough to use, I'm going to go ahead and trust them. Why wouldn't I?
The Great Department of Magic doesn't know what the items are capable of yet. Yes. Actually, we've done research into it. Yes.
Really?
Yes. I mean, that's what archaeology is, right? You
know better than the professional archaeologist?
No, the archaeologist knows what they are too. That's how we learned their effects. She just didn't share them with you because
she is the Department of Magic. If you think of a level, I suppose I can't say.
But she's not the Department of Magic.
You think of a low. I found her in the Department of Magic, so what was she doing in there if she wasn't?
But she is not. She is not like the Department of Magic.
Well, sure, but if you think one of the least powerful people in the Department of Magic knows what these items are, you don't think that the most powerful people can figure it out?
All the more reason not to give her the item. If she's one of the least powerful, why would she need such a magical item?
Because she's the department. She will give it to the... Is this not the whole point?
Can you stop yelling?
She said...
Yeah, we need to... I look out the windows and out the walls. I look around. I'm trying to listen to anything if anything is around us. Harkins. Oh, he's back. Okay. Because he's making a big scene. So...
He definitely is, yeah.
I know you have one of the items. Why don't you want to give it up?
Well, I would explain it to you, but it seems that you're more interested in yelling than listening.
Graham's going to get Renesmee's attention and sign. We're tied to these items now, though. We can't just hide them forever.
We can refuse to get them.
Sure.
Or we could... I'm signing it.
She'll sign back. Why couldn't someone else go and get them then?
Someone else could. It's a risk all the same. What's best for the items is most likely to be studied and then destroyed. It's a long story. I will tell you when there's yet less commotion and yelling.
She doesn't seem happy about that answer, but she'll go back to waiting by the door.
Y'all done?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'll do a perception check on just Zednius then, see if he has it.
Should I roll a well, it doesn't I don't think it'll matter. But would
I
I
mean,
roll
you can
like a
roll sleight of
deception
hand
or
if you-
sleight of hand?
It would definitely be sleight
Okay.
of hand, but like, it's not like you're concealing anything on your person, so
Yeah,
there's no
yeah.
reason to roll the sleight of hand thing. So, I
He
mean,
did
you can just-
perfect.
Yeah.
Hmm?
I'm passing. Yeah,
Okay.
he didn't
Yeah,
see.
you just don't have it on you.
No.
Yeah, I mean, like Peach
Is
was,
the
I
way
think,
it
about
is.
to say, you could make it seem like you did, I guess, if you wanted to.
That's
but...
what I was trying to, but with a 26, sure, I'll roll it because I'm attempting to, but I
Sure.
can't beat him.
Yeah, you will notice that Zenius has, fine clothes, Callum Rasa, a golden holy symbol. Like, you can see he has all the normal stuff, and then underneath his clothes, the only thing maybe noticeable is that his pocket has some, like, little square-shaped things in it, but, actually, wait. Do you even know what you're looking for?
Nope.
No.
Oh,
I don't.
well, then you
You
can
might
tell
think
that
you go.
Zenius has
There's the
some
items right there in his
square-shaped...
pocket.
Yeah, Zenius has some square-shaped strips in his pocket. Well, no, more like rectangle-shaped than square, but...
Shoot. I mean, I know what beef jerky looks like.
Doesn't look like beef jerky.
Oh,
Nor does it
shucks.
look like coins. Or whatever other military shit Maximus could think of.
What are those?
Like it's a magical item to me.
What's what?
Those rectangles in your pocket.
I'll pull one out. It's just spell components.
Oh.
It's
I
an
mean,
ivory strip. You'll see an ivory strip. 1 of 4.
Oh. Oh, okay. How's
Well.
this? I know you all have it. Somewhere.
You don't. You just think we're lying to you.
Well, he said he'd seen it
I
already.
misspoke.
So you've
I
seen
saw it in my dreams. I
You
misspoke.
saw a picture of it.
Saw it in your
of
dreams,
drawing it in.
surely. Yes, and that tells you exactly how powerful it is, doesn't it?
No, but we saw a drawing. It looked very powerful, and from what we've gleaned from our research, etc., it only bolstered our
I-
beliefs.
I don't believe you.
And that is
You have
perfectly
it here
fine.
somewhere.
Alright, if that is what you think.
I'm gonna go get the Department of Magic to come here and find out. I know you all have it somewhere around here. You can either share it with me, or you can share it with them.
To threaten to get the Department of Magic involved is low of you.
Theirs. It's theirs, isn't it?
It's not. It's the Department of Faiths.
Then why are you still concealing it? You don't trust your own department? Well,
There are things that you don't understand, Maximus,
then
and that
enli-
I don't
then
think you
enlighten
have.
me.
I don't think that you have an interest in understanding. I don't think that you're willing to actually listen,
I know you know more than you're letting on.
which I've tried to explain to you, but you just resort to yelling over me.
All you do is you tell me that it's cursed. You
Yes,
tell
and
me
I
that
would
it's-
be happy
Can't
to
be that
explain the
cursed.
rest.
All right,
Right.
go on then.
I am no longer interested in explaining this to you, Maximus. If you would like to learn about it, find me tomorrow.
No, because you're just going to have done something with the item.
No, I would not have, because I do not have the item. But I am happy to tell you about the item that we are searching for and its importance, and also how devastating it would be if it got into the wrong hands.
If I wanted that, I could just go down to the archaeologist. She would tell me.
Did you ask her about the necklace?
No, she said it was a. I had no reason to suspect that it was a magical necklace she needed.
Did you ask her about it?
Yeah, I did. She said it wasn't magical.
Alright. And she told us that it was one of the armaments of Karul, one of the worst necromancers of all time. She told us about its history, about how she thought it was laid to rest with some man in some old
Mass grave.
mass grave or whatever.
Well, to be clear, I assume this is
the
intentional,
tomb.
but... Yeah, I assume this is intentional, but she did not tell you any of that. You know that, right?
Oh, right.
She
Whatever.
never mentioned anything about the
She
necklace.
gave us the name of the guy who might
Yeah.
have it.
Yeah, so
That's
this is all.
she gave
Yeah,
us.
no, and that's totally fine. But
That's fine.
yeah, roll like a charisma
I'll
check or
lie
something.
about it.
Yeah, that's fine.
Sure.
Yeah, because it's a good story. It's not.
But also, I know about like the armaments.
Well,
that
we
were
know way
looking
more
for.
about
Yeah.
the item
of-
than
I
think Umbra did.
Sure,
And
I don't
also,
disagree with
I
any
think-
of this, but you literally know nothing about the necklace he's talking about. So
Wait, but we've
Besides,
just
it
done
belonged to
3
Cal Rule,
days.
probably.
But we've just done 3 days of.
that is completely true. I'm just going to tell you now, because I know this. Bali will never mention a necklace.
A, B, C, D. Okay.
There's no reason why he ever would.
Did I do it?
I assume he did. It's just going to take a second to register.
Maybe I didn't. In case I didn't.
Oh, there it is.
I think Maximus, I don't like. Obviously, I don't think insight is like a lie detector. I think it's more so just. It's like a thou doth protest too much. We doing Shakespeare quotes up here. Basically, the story just to you comes off as too elaborate. It comes off as a little bit like what's the word for it? Like talking down to you, being like, "Oh, this is so complicated and esoteric." When it all comes down to saying this was owned by Cal Rule, therefore is bad. But considering the rest of the conversation, I don't know if the story, I don't think you think it's a lie. I just don't think you think it's like, it doesn't change your mind because up to this point, she hasn't been very straightforward with you.
That makes no sense. You're not. If you could give me something like, if you touch this whatever it is for 10 minutes, then the ghost of Cal Rule himself will come down and infect you and make you do all these evil things, or something along those lines. Something a specific that makes me think, yes, this thing is incredibly dangerous and should never be wielded by anyone ever. And even if we were to take the time to give it to the Department of Magic, they would not even be able to handle it. And yet somehow we can, something along those lines. Then I can get with the program.
I think
Do you?
the thing
have
is
something
here.
for me?
Yeah, the thing is here that the armaments of Karul have been gone for how long? Gone
Like 150 years.
Yeah, 150 years. There are
Okay.
only written accounts and testimonies of people that were around at that time claiming what these objects would do. And there were a large variety of claims of how they were
They're
cursed.
also officially in the records as being destroyed.
Yes, but
These
nonetheless,
technically don't exist.
That
There's
means
lots-
so much.
Legally.
there's lots of claims as to what they could do, and none of them can be necessarily corroborated because, as Ednia said, they were all claimed to be destroyed. However, we now have leads and reasons to believe that these items were not destroyed and that they do still exist. These were armaments of Karul, which is one of the most powerful necromancers of all time. So clearly, just by virtue of being the armaments of Karul, they are deeply powerful and cursed. However, the reason that the archaeologist wants to find them is to study their properties. There are accounts of how cursed they are, accounts of the kinds of powers that they wielded, etc. But nobody knows for sure. I mean, on official record, they're gone. Nobody knows for sure what they actually do. We can only infer from who owned them how cursed they actually are. And given that he was an indescribably, bone-chillingly awful, evil man, you can only imagine with the accounts of magics that he was able to use, with the accounts of what these items used to do, what they could be capable of doing if they landed in the wrong hands. Now, I can't say that the necklace is going to do X, Y, and Z because nobody knows. Nobody knows what any of these armaments do. We only know that they're possessed by him and the accounts of what people say that they did. But they're dangerous because of that.
If they're so dangerous, why did they get handed off to a bunch of adventuring heroes?
What do you mean?
I'm getting my necklace from a mass grave off of a powerful dude nonetheless, but
Well, because
Because he
like
died.
the official
his whole
story,
thing,
Maximus, right, is that these objects were destroyed, so nobody knew that they had them and they lost track of them. So Nobody knows that that necklace is as powerful as it is. Nobody knows that that is the necklace of Cal Rule.
This is what the necromancers, do you remember, months ago?
She does.
Months. Yes, and we did too. We believed that these existed too. That's what we were looking for.
That's why she contacted us.
This is getting too much. So if I go and get this item, this necklace, I'm gonna, die, be enslaved, be possessed, be what?
We have absolutely no idea. And the fact is, we don't know this woman either. We don't know what her intentions are.
We haven't looked into her.
Oh, you have to understand that we are dealing with items that the Almighty... it is the opposite of his divineness and goodness. It is from the depths, the trenches of evil. And while there is historical value in unearthing these objects, they have been laid to rest for hundreds of years. And unearthing them could make people who are against the Empire or against the Almighty know that they're back, that they were never destroyed, like the official records say, and those people could come and try and get possession of them, or try to infiltrate a department that has hundreds of workers in order to get their hands on it. We know that some of these ornaments, that necromancer back in that tower, that had those ghoulish spirits, the building that was burning that we fought, he was looking for the Staff of Carol because of the power that it wielded, or that he claimed it wielded. He knew that it existed out there.
Stop. This is too much. It's all too much. Do you have the item on you?
No.
Is it in your room?
No.
I'm gonna go.
We are looking. Absolutely.
I'll turn around and go into the room across the way.
Sure, easy enough. Well,
my room door is locked.
That is, that was the. So you open up the door, you head out into the hall. I will say, not at the moment, but earlier there was some loud noises, and some loud noises are not a concern. Yelling is a concern. So there will probably be like a person who is just loitering in the hallway, like one of the hotel staff. This is a very nice establishment. But as you exit the room, covered in plate armor, but not covered in blood, he will just go back to, doing his fussing with the curtains, just sort of languishing. But yeah, you walk across the hall and there is a locked door.
Any of those been assigned to Renesmee during this thing?
Are you trying to kick down the door?
Bust the door?
Yes.
Okay. I'm not going to say you can't do this, but I want you to think for a moment. You are in the Imperial capital in an inn paid for by the Department of Faith. If you do this, is going to become I'm not going to say massive deal, but at bare minimum, there's going to be an investigation as to why you just damaged Department of Faith property.
That may end up leading them to finding out we have magic items.
Yeah, that's good. That's what I want!
Depending on the situation, it may not be what you
But no,
I feel like
right.
out of character, if you go down the road of like trying to rat us out to the Department of Faith or Department of Magic, you can totally make that decision and call, but it's going to split up the party. I don't know how we're going to remain together.
What do you mean? Are you and me gonna just go rogue and leave the judges?
If he threatened to get the Department of Magic, then yeah, I'm assuming he'd have to go rogue.
You walk across the hall and you try the door handle and it remains locked.
I'll turn around. I suppose you're gonna open the door, are you?
Absolutely not.
Hell, I don't even know how the fuck you both got in here. That still...
Wait, that's a good point.
We were in that room.
Side of the hall.
You were in this room. The door is still locked. I found you in this room.
Yeah, because I have the key. I locked it behind me when we went into Zednius's room.
You were in your room when I got here.
I
heard your voice on the other side of this door.
Yes, the hotel staff will walk over and, just do the politest little, slight nod and say, Sir, your loud noises are disturbing the other guests.
I'm staring at him. Kind of like the Ironbrow stares at people.
Yeah, he just looks back at you with a polite customer service stare.
I suppose they are. Look at the others, and I'll tromp away.
Okay. The hotel
I don't know
staff.
where yet. We'll
Yeah, you just tromp away angrily down the steps, and the hotel staff will look at the three of you. The same also applies to the rest of you.
Sorry, what applies to the rest of us?
If you could keep your voice down.
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you. And he'll go back to fussing with the curtains in the hallway to keep an eye out.
I'm gonna have Hegal kind of fly and tail Maximus to know what he's actually doing, because he said he was storming out or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
What time is it, Alex?
Well, you got that at about midday. No, then you had to wait in the line. So it's like
I had to wait in the line.
6:30 in the evening.
I'm gonna go see if Umbra's still there.
Okay. You march off to the Department of Magic. Sorry. Do you go to the help desk line?
I think before he gets there, Hegal would tell me, right, that he's headed that way.
Yeah, probably.
Okay, then I want Hegal to go down there and then ask him. I'm trying to tie Tullius into this somehow. If
he wants a senatorship,
well, I don't know that Zednius knows that's how he got his senatorship, but I would just.
No, he would have literally no way of knowing that.
Yeah, I don't think I know. Then I guess I don't know that he'd be going against Tullius at all, really, or
Correct.
that he has any kind of.
Tullius
so I won't.
Told you he spoke to Maximus, but that was the extent of what you were told.
Okay. Then I do have a little bit to go off. I can remain vague enough. I'll just have Hegal go down there and tell him to remember what Tullius said to him.
Very vague.
Oh man. Okay. I'm gonna let you know. Hegal does not like this plan, but obviously he will do it.
Okay.
Mostly because it involves him talking and relying on him not sounding demonic, which we both know.
Can I? If I use the voice, can't I speak through him? Would that still strain him?
Absolutely, because you're still speaking through him.
Okay.
Because ultimately it's still him talking. He's just doing a very good impression of you, sort of mimicry. But Maximus, you are Oh God, that's such a bad idea. Okay, anyways, Maximus, you're walking to the Department of Magic. You are on a very busy thoroughfare, and you don't really notice anything particularly amiss. And then from above you, in the air, you hear, what do you want the message to be, Yogi?
Remember what Tullius said. I think 4 words is the most amount.
Okay, then from right above your head, Maximus, you hear, remember what Tullius said.
I'm gonna fucking start, look around.
Yeah, you spin around in all directions. A couple people look at you like you're insane. One person that was close enough to you looks up in the air above your head with a horrified look on their face.
I'm gonna slowly keep moving. Do I recognize that voice, Alex?
So here's the thing. You probably do. Het Hagal sounds very distinctive. Even when he's doing other voices, he ultimately sounds like Het Hagal. And you have heard him talk. Unlike most of the other party members, you've actually seen Het Hagal once or twice, because you have been with Zednius ever since the beginning. Rania would have been a definite no. I think even Severus may have been a no. Renesmee...
No, he knows. Severus has called him a coward like 6 times.
Oh, you're right. True. Okay, yeah. So you've definitely heard Het Hagal's voice before. No, I was going to say Renesmee and Maximus definitely had. But not only does that voice sound pretty familiar, it's the fact that it came out of nowhere that makes it like classic Het Hagal. That's just kind of Het Hagal's whole thing. Now here's the thing though, and this is the one fact that may make you think it wasn't Het Hagal. It came from the air above you.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Like right above me. Is there anything
right
up
above
there?
Your head? Yeah.
Mother.
And last you knew, he could only stick to surfaces. And he's not on your head. You would feel him if he was on your head. And he is not there. So I think that may be the one sort of fringe of doubt.
Fuck. I knew they had a fucking item. Fuck. I'm gonna quickly walk to the Department of Magic now.
Yeah, you open up the door to the atrium of the Department of Magic. Do you head to the help desk?
No, fuck that. I'm not going there.
Because the line is closed. So
I'm going back to Umbra's office.
Okay, you head straight to Umbra's office. You head up to the research wing. You head in the direction of Umbra's office. As you arrive, the door is closed.
I'm gonna knock on it several times.
There's no response.
Damn it. I'll look around for, I don't know, someone.
Someone? Well, there is a man in blue robes with a younger man in blue robes with a black stripe walking past him. The two of them are like walking down the hall together.
You two.
The mage looks at you. His apprentice sort of, stands there.
Is there a way to leave a message for someone in the morning? When they come back, they'll see it? Other than
you could just push a note under a door.
All right, you have some paper and a pen or a quill?
He looks at his apprentice. The apprentice produces those things.
Yeah, okay. And I'll scrawl a message. Need to talk urgently in morning. Send for me at... I'm going to go to a different hotel, not the Department of Faith one.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll just write a name of some different hotel I could go stay. It's going to be a seedier.
Okay. That can be done.
Yeah.
All right, you leave the note, you push it under the door, you return the pen and the parchment to the apprentice, and you begin to exit the Department of Magic with the two of them. They seem to be discussing the intricacies of arcane wards, and you don't give a fuck about what they're talking about. But...
I'm going to leave via a different entrance than the one I came in.
Okay, sure. Well, wait a minute. You would not have access to any other side entrances.
I'll ask the other two. I'll ask the two bozos there if they can lead me to a different entrance.
The Arcanist will look at you and shake his head. No.
Damn it. Fuck.
I'm afraid you're not a member of Clan Fabricia.
I don't suppose telling you it was urgent judge business would do, would it?
He thinks about it for a moment. He sort of...
Fine.
Alright, thank you.
And they will head towards one of these side doors. These side doors are concealed via illusion spells, at least this one is. It just looks like a brick wall, but they walk right through it. And then there is a door leading to the outside. It's not like super hidden on the other side other than by another invisible, like, illusionary shrubbery. The door itself is covered in arcane glyphs. Certainly not a way to re-enter the Department of Magic, if you ever tried to sneak into it.
Yeah, that's good. Don't want to do that.
Yeah, but you head out onto the street. The Arcanist parts ways with you, not wanting to know any details about Judge shit. Also not wanting to know why a judge wants to... He just doesn't want to know any of that shit. And you begin to walk in direction of your seedier tavern.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a really weird, winding, long, unnecessarily, it doubles back on itself constantly. I duck into alleyways, all that shit. And then
that doesn't actually, this doesn't actually work for Haidagol. Like, most of those things are for catching the person that's following you, but he's invisible, so you're never gonna catch him.
Oh, that's not to avoid the first...
not really, right?
Oh, okay.
Because the reason why you do these fucked up paths is because you think there's a person following you, you want to spot them and then lose them. But if it's invisible, you literally you can never, I don't even know how you do that. And now you think maybe it can fly or something? Who the fuck knows, man? So
whatever it is, be it Haidagol or something else.
Yeah. All right, well, you walk straight to the place, and as you arrive at the tavern, that is where we will end the session. Drama.
Oh, fuck.
Lots of tension. Perhaps Maximus will get -1 senatorship. Who knows? All that will have to be next week. I will also, Peach, answer all those questions that you end up writing up between this week and next week. Just DM it to me, and I will try to answer them as full as I can. All right. Well, I'll see you guys
Everyone's
then.
good for next week.
Oh, and
we'll figure that out in a second.
I let everybody, or I let Renesmee know that he's going to the Department of Magic.
Alrighty.
Yeah, I'd probably pack up all my shit.
Yeah, we'll continue that all next week. See you then. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.